Hey, podcast listeners. Dana here. Can I let you guys in on a little secret? Just between us. We like all of you much, much more than the folks that listen live. But no matter how, when, or where you check out the Hams podcast, we got to give thanks to our friends at Standard Heating for making it all possible. It's been a pretty tame winter so far, but we know well enough that we're not out of the woods yet. So hit up standardheating.com to get them out to your house to make sure your furnace is tuned up to do all of the furnace-y types of things it's supposed to do. I'm still learning the lingo. Make that appointment today. Become a Smart Club member like me. That's standardheating.com. Enjoy the show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Oh, my damn. We welcome you this wonderful morning to the show, the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Hope you're doing well. Hope your Monday overhang. Oh, we hope it doesn't slow you down too damn much. I'll tell you what, Josh, I don't know what people were referring to or why. I don't know why people were referring to it as the worst Super Bowl ever, because that ball game was absolute magic last night.
Yeah, I think I have bed sores from not moving. I didn't want to miss a moment.
It was beautiful.
It was awesome.
It was gorgeous. It was finally something that all of America can agree upon and be happy about, and that hasn't happened in a long time.
It was shocking, and it was awesome. That was so good.
I agree with you. Man.
I mean, there was a couple moments. Patrick Mahomes looked like Patrick Mahomes, just the way he's able to scramble. Kind of like, it was like a video game almost a couple times.
Whatever. He ran around in circles a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much. But outside of that, boy, he just was destroyed.
When's the last time I sang the Philadelphia Eagles fight song live on the radio? How long has it been? Fly, Eagles, fly?
Well, I don't know if you've ever sang it on.
Oh, I thought that maybe, because like the Vikings have skull. Do you know Fly, Eagles, fly?
Certainly. I heard it last night.
I had the lyrics in front of me, but I just don't know how the song goes. But I feel like I need to honor the Eagles after what they did for all of America.
I can't believe how, I don't want to cheer for the Eagles, but last night they were my favorite team.
They were. They were everybody's favorite team.
I got so pumped that I scared my dog yesterday.
What happened? You came off the couch hollering and screaming?
Yeah. That young guy, the 22-year-old, it's his birthday yesterday. He had the interception for a touchdown.
I have to be totally honest. I didn't see the game.
Oh, you didn't?
Okay.
It made it seem like you watched it.
Let me be clear. The game was on in my living room, but I did not have the sound on, and I was kind of just finger banging the phone around and whatnot, and I would just look up periodically and say to myself, oh, 7-0. Oh, Christ, it's 10-0. Oh, forgot, 27-0. So I didn't hear a single word said. I couldn't tell you any of the characters involved last night because, okay, I'll be honest. I was going into yesterday calling it the worst Super Bowl ever. You probably heard me say it in the last couple of weeks. So I couldn't tell you any names. I couldn't relate to much.
Cooper DeJean, I think is his name. And then
Cooper DeJean?
DeJean.
Yeah?
DeJean, please.
He did what now?
He got an interception for a touchdown, and it was kind of, I wasn't ready for that. Obviously, neither was Kansas City. And I yelled so loud, my exuberance scared one of my dogs. He jumped up off the bed. He was so scared.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I apologized a couple times.
Oh, my God.
That was fun. I even watched all the commercials. I barely got up to pee. I just had a bedpan next to me. I wanted to watch all of it.
You were dialed into every damn thing. All the commercials, all the plays. You could tell me some names from last night? Players' names and things like that?
Sure, I watched the game.
Okay.
Yeah. There was, I don't know if it's the same guy working between different products, but Little Caesars and those, oh my gosh, Pringles. They had the same commercial, essentially, where mustaches were flying around.
Okay.
I'm sorry, eyebrows.
Eyebrows.
Or maybe it was a little of both. But yeah, one was mustache, one was eyebrows. It was like the same type of idea. That was kind of weird.
So
are they going to make a Pringles pizza?
Combining the two?
Yeah.
Quite after this, maybe they'll realize we have a lot in common. And then there was one with a dancing tongue. It was like a coffee mate cream of some sort.
Huh.
So you were enjoying the commercials as well. There were tongues and eyebrows and mustaches. And
There were a couple kind of funny ones, but it was weird. There was a commercial that at first I thought was for boobs, and then it was for breast cancer awareness. I mean, it was very provocative at first. I'm looking at my wife going, what is this commercial for?
I like a good provocative ad. I do.
And it went on forever before they revealed what it was.
I thought it was like a bra ad.
I
or
did
something
too.
like that. I thought it was going to pop up like best bras around. And then, nope, check yourself. Breast cancer.
Yeah, boobs don't really need advertising. I feel like we're already pretty pro-boob around these parts.
That's pretty much what it said in the commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like you're looking, but you're not looking.
Yeah,
I'd
then,
love to-
there was one with some sperm on it. I mean, it was wild yesterday.
There was a
Wow.
commercial starring sperm.
Well, it featured a little bit of sperm. It was actually pretty funny. It was for
Testicular cancer?
no, it's not a bad guess with the last one. The Indianapolis 500.
The Indianapolis 500.
Or more specifically, a particular racer. I guess
Automobile.
they're creating a star there, and it talked about how he was always fast, and then it showed a sperm faster than the other sperm.
That's a good one.
I'll tell you what. Yeah.
Bill Belichick and his girlfriend was in the Dunkin' commercial for Dunk Kings.
I didn't get that. That commercial, I mean, some of them I just didn't really understand.
Yeah.
Then there was the singing artist Seal, who was an actual seal. That was an odd one.
Oh,
Sorry.
sounds like I missed something.
I'm sorry I missed some of these wonderful ads.
Taylor Swift got booed in the same place. She sold out 3 concerts just in October.
That was awesome. They were showing all the celebrities.
Explain that to me.
So you know how they show, usually they'll show her every few moments. And
Taylor
last time-
Swift at the ball game.
At the ball game, I saw her maybe twice, and one of the times she got booed.
Well, I like obviously, like I told you, I looked up at the television periodically, and I did say to myself at one point or another towards the end of the game, "Hey, I haven't seen that gal yet, not once, Taylor Swift." But you saw her a couple of times, and
Very briefly.
and she was booed by the live audience
Yeah.
there. The live audience,
And probably
the crowd.
people at home, too, but yeah.
Well, that's too bad for her.
And
It was
the
very
annou-
audible, too.
Yeah, oh yeah. The announcer, I grabbed the audio, but it's just booing, so it wasn't that exciting. But
Sure.
the announcers were even mentioning she's got nothing to cheer for, and they've barely seen her. I've always seen, so the Taylor Swift thing, you know how if you go to let's say there's a movie you've seen before, it's a comedy, and you're kind of looking at who you're showing this comedy to see their reaction?
Sure.
It seems like the NFL does that with her. After every play, they're like, oh, what does Taylor think about this? What's her level of excitement?
Well, I just think it's a beautiful thing.
Some people are mad that we cheered for the Eagles. Well, it was just more cheering against the Chiefs, no matter who it was. Like I said, I never thought I'd cheer for the Eagles.
I'm not going to apologize.
I was a big fan, yes.
They did us all a big favor last night.
Travis Kelce dropped a couple balls. Man,
Good.
It was rough for them.
Good. I'm
yesterday.
not going to apologize for. What are they mad at? Why can't we root for the Philadelphia Eagles now and again?
We'll go back not to like
Just because they're a Viking rival or something? Or what's the reasoning behind this?
I think because Eagles fans.
Most probably the fans.
Yeah,
whatever.
the fans and
We all know they're dickheads. I mean, so what?
Floor magician Jesus, like the Totino's Pizza Bites commercial at the end. That was pretty funny. An alien got killed.
An alien was murdered.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. No, he died in an accident. Unfortunately, the doors on the spaceship, they closed right on him.
oh, okay.
I can't
I was
believe
going
that.
to say I would murder somebody over pizza rolls for sure. I mean, if it came right down to it, mere pizza rolls, I'm killing somebody.
So am I the only one that watched? I was hoping you guys would have watched.
Well, we
I was
kind
watching
of
a
told you
little
we
bit.
weren't going to
Yeah.
watch.
Well, a lot of people said they weren't, including myself, and then I watched every moment.
Yeah, I didn't see. Like I told you, I already explained my experience last night. Dana, you didn't watch it at all?
No, yeah, I'm like Nick. It was present. It was on in the background, but I was not really paying attention. We were just kind of sitting around talking.
But
Yeah,
it was
I saw a little bit of it.
It was a lot of fun to look up and
Oh, yeah.
see what was happening now and again. That was enough for me. And like I said, I'd love to sing the Fly, Eagles, Fly fight song this morning. I just don't, but I don't know the tune. You know what I mean?
I think there's a part about eagles and there's a part about flying, but I don't know the tune.
What if I sang the song, Josh? What if I sang the song to the tune of the Crash Test Dummies?
Go ahead, and we can compare it to the actual song.
I don't know. Do people want that? Do they want to hear me sing Fly, Eagles, Fly to the tune of the Crash Test Tummies?
I'm sure there's a market for
I kind
it.
of want to hear it.
Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fight, 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 Eagles, fight. Score a touchdown. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's not bad, right?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was like. Bam, 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 bam.
Is that how you thought it would?
Please stop that.
Kind of that halftime show. I didn't really get that. I didn't think those two. My wife was very excited about that.
I'm glad you brought that up. I did not pay attention at all to the halftime show, but I did read a headline that said worst Super Bowl halftime show ever.
I
It
didn't
was
like
pretty
it.
bad.
I didn't get it. And I turned to my wife once again and said, "You don't think I can do this? Like, sure, he's a lot more cool than I am, but I didn't really understand the rapping."
No, right. When you say to your wife, you don't think I can do this, that goes back to an argument you've had with your whole family, correct?
Correct.
Can you
There's some
reinforce
very
that?
talented hip hop artists and rap artists, but the stuff they seem to like is just talking.
Right.
You know, not like where you go, "Wow, that was really good."
So you had moments over the years where a rap song will come on at the house and your whole family's like, "Oh, I love this." And you've said, "Look, I can do this." And they tell you, "No, you can't."
It's more me saying, I don't understand how that person's considered just this great talent.
Right.
And my wife's like, "Well, he's a great lyricist." And I thought, well, okay, I'm out there. I don't pay any attention.
Well,
to
you
that.
could hire me to write lyrics.
Yeah, I don't understand. I didn't get that. I mean, I probably could write some, but I don't listen to them.
I'm a lyricist.
So where you're a kind of a guy, those are the lyrics you really get into.
I can't argue that.
Somebody wants to know if I would say that the halftime show insisted upon itself. It really did.
So last night's halftime show starring, what was the guy's name again?
Kendrick Lamar.
You thought that was another episode where you think, okay, this guy ain't as great as everyone thinks he is.
I was looking forward to it in the way that everyone said he's so good.
Yeah.
And maybe I just don't understand it. But
That's
my wife
possible.
was even disappointed. It got better towards the end.
They're calling it the worst ever. I didn't see it. I guess it depends on who you are.
Yeah, right. Maybe if you're a fan, you enjoyed it. But then again, like I said, my wife is a huge fan, and she thought it was kind of not that great.
Philadelphia.
Boy, they can fit a lot. If you watch, they can fit a lot of people in one car.
Oh, boy.
They
Wow.
just kept coming out of that thing.
That's what I said, too. I was like, did all those people just come out of that car? Did anyone else see that?
Well, you get how it worked, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
No, yeah.
Sorry
they had
about
that platform underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry I had to gross everyone out there a minute ago with some phlegm, but what did I read here a minute ago? Philadelphia, the city itself, is being stomped into dust as we speak.
Yeah, so their mayor last week says, please don't climb up some of those light poles. We don't need somebody else dying. A young man died before, and so please don't do that. And I was looking at some of the videos. They decided everyone's going to climb the same light pole at the same time.
The city of Philadelphia is currently being stomped into dust by people who really, really love professional football. Josh is right. This is just, who knows what's happened since this article was written last night. But folks have been climbing the light poles, and they've been falling and breaking themselves in half. There have been fireworks. Okay, fireworks, I can live with that. Or if I were there, I could live with that. They jumped up on top of a police van and destroyed it.
In Philadelphia?
They ruined a garbage truck. I'm sure this is just the beginning.
This is all before the Super Bowl even began.
Yeah, this was Friday afternoon.
Yeah, that's just Philly.
Just standard Philly.
Don't climb light poles or anything else. Please, Philadelphia, I implore you as your mayor, do not climb light poles.
I bet she was rolling her eyes when her staff said, hey, you got to get this message out there.
Man.
So elementary music teacher, she knows a thing or two about music, said she agrees. She loves Kendrick, but was underwhelmed by the show. A couple cool moments. Yeah, I agree. There's a couple times I thought it was kind of cool.
What'd she think of my Fight Eagles Fight song?
She hasn't responded yet. I think she's still taking it in.
They were dancing on light poles at the halftime show.
Yeah, they were, weren't they?
Yeah, I was like, that's kind of ironic.
Yeah, good point. And there was a bunch of them up there.
Yeah.
You know, at 7:30, we're going to hear from Brad Ryder and Randy Shaver, and we can dive right back into this conversation on the worst Super Bowl ever that turned out to be a magical, beautiful, and much needed, how should I say this, moment for all of America. Thank you, Philadelphia Eagles, for what you did for all of us. On a side note, and thank you, a couple people have texted in this morning already. Today is the 26th anniversary of this morning show.
Yeah, very kind of you to remember.
Mm-hmm. I had forgotten all about it.
Well, it's easy for me to remember. It's my oldest birthday today as well. And he was born the day the show started, so that's an easy one for me.
Yeah, you're always on the spot.
Because of that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be 100% sure.
This marks our 26th year as a program. There were a lot of things promised to us when we hit the 25-year mark. None of those things happened. Remember that talk of a big concert celebration?
Yes.
That never happened.
Oh,
I remember some of the names and being kind of excited.
Yeah. Can we share some of the names?
I think so.
Well, you know, the boss said, yeah, we'll have a big party, a big concert. We'll get whatever band you want. And we said, any band we want, okay, Winger. And he said, no, we can't get Winger. And we said, any band we want, Twisted Sister. And he said, no, I'm not going to call Twisted Sister. And we said, any band we want, Skid Row. And he said, no, I'm not calling Skid Row. And we said, what about Ace Frehley? And he said, I'll call Ace Frehley. And Ace Frehley said no.
Well, yeah, and he even said, guess what? I can't get Skid Row, but I can get Sebastian Bach. And it sounds like there's some interest. And I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm nervous. Maybe he'll let us get up there and play a song with him or something like that. That'll be very cool. And then he came back and said, yeah, it's not going to work out.
But
it wasn't even our idea. They're like, hey, we got this great idea. We want to put together a show.
Yeah, it was their idea. It's all right. 26 years, Josh, I couldn't even in a million years fathom a better person to go through 26 years of morning radio with, aside from your damn self.
Well, yeah, you know I feel the same way.
I know we got all cheesy last year when we hit 25. We won't put you through that again. But it is always special when you hit another mark like that. Oh, for God's sake.
You know, anytime a corporate guy comes through, and it's been more and more, we've had someone from corporate come in, I always think, well, we're not going to make our 26th. Or we're not going to make our 27th.
You think they're here to gas us?
Well, it seems
anytime
so.
A corporate guy comes into the building?
You kind of wonder, right? Because it's usually like, hey, where'd so-and-so go? They're like, oh, yeah, corporate guy in town.
Well, I know.
Gone.
Last week there was a big-timer in the building, and he did kind of look at me funny. So I guess don't go anywhere. It still might happen. I haven't heard from Ashley yet. Is she here?
No, she's not. She, unfortunately, feeling under the weather.
For Christ's sake.
Text today, which is unfortunate because she's got something going on I know she wanted to talk about, but she's not feeling too good.
You know what?
And it has nothing to do with the Super Bowl. People were saying, did she get too drunk? No, this was before that. She started feeling crappy Friday.
She doesn't feel very good. You think she minds if we speak for her?
Oh, not at all. I bet she'd prefer it if we did.
This one is for the Sister Damn Hood, for the ladies. Oh, this is Valentine's Day week this week?
Yeah, Friday.
I haven't looked at the calendar. It's the week of Valentine's Day. And our own little Smashley, if she comes too, she wants to hear from you ladies. And this will be your chance to win a 14-karat yellow gold tennis bracelet that has a 3.14-karat lab-grown diamond from Landmark Jewelers. Well, that's a nice prize. All you've got to do is go to 93x.com and click on the Sisterhood Valentine's Day icon and tell us your craziest Valentine's Day story.
What's Galentine's Day? Oh, it's only the best day of the year. Every February 13th, my lady friends and I leave our husbands and our boyfriends at home and we just come and kick it breakfast style. Ladies celebrating ladies. It's like Lilith Fair, minus the angst. Plus frittatas.
Saw a few restaurants advertising their Galentine's Day deal.
Galentine's Day. Did I miss that? Should I have thrown that slogan in here somewhere?
It's supposed to be called that, but they didn't put that in there.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be called the Galentine's Day Showdown?
Yes.
So again, ladies, go to 93x.com, click on the Sisterhood Galentine's Day icon, and tell us your craziest Valentine's Day story. We'll take submissions all week until the end of the show on Thursday, and Friday we will announce the winner with the best story. She will win the tennis bracelet, which is valued at $5,500. And that's from the folks at Landmark Jewelers.
Yeah, that's a big diamond on that thing, isn't it?
That's a keeper.
That's pretty good.
If you've got a story, ladies, if you've got a story, we'd love to hear it. Valentine's Day, craziest Valentine's Day story. Stay tuned for that. We'll, like I said, pile them up during the week and have something for you on Friday.
Hasn't Ashley said in the past that Valentine's Day means something to her?
I think every holiday does.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
She gets really into holidays.
Yeah, because didn't she say she was hanging up Valentine's shower curtains or something like that?
That sounds right.
Yeah, that would seem like pretty into Valentine's Day for me.
Agreed.
Changing your shower curtains.
She's a character.
I typically don't change my shower curtains for the holiday.
Yeah.
She just misses too much work, that's all. She misses too. She's one of 22.6 million Americans who will miss work today. I wish we could have added to that number, but here we are. 22 point, you know this gimmick. They dump this on us every Super Bowl Monday. Nobody goes to work today. 22.6 million people are still asleep.
And then they talk about just the missed productivity, right, for those that actually go to work.
That weird like algorithm they come up with, or math equation of how many billions of dollars are lost. No, they're not.
Yeah. It's this and it's March Madness. They guilt trip us into thinking that the country is going to crumble because of those two big sporting events, and the country is stronger than ever, in my opinion, after what happened last night. So I'm not worried about some folks missing work. But it's supposedly, this is an all-time record, because that 22.6 million people planned to miss work today. I don't know how they did this arithmetic, but they know that 22.6 million planned to miss today. Imagine how many more are just coming to now and they're calling the boss saying, I'm not going to be there. So they're saying this is an all-time record. And, of course, this is why everyone keeps jaw-jacking about making the day after the Super Bowl a holiday.
Yeah, or just move it to a Saturday. Seems like that might be
right. You got that going,
easier,
too.
not knowing a thing about how that works.
Oh, you know a thing about how everything works, Josh.
Foundry Rat Jesus said they're a company of 18 employees. 4 have shown up. Might as well file for bankruptcy and close the doors.
18, that's a big crowd.
Yeah, and only 4 made it.
We only have, I don't know, we don't have 18 people that works here anymore, do we?
Well, I know you didn't go to the big company meeting where back in the day, I mean, it would be packed, right? We had a couple people, like I'd say close to 200 people that worked here. And now I'd be surprised if there's more than 30.
Oh, we have that many?
If even, maybe, I don't know, you guys were there, Dana and Wapple.
Yeah, maybe cracking 30.
I was kind of shocked. It seemed like there was more people. I don't know.
Huh?
Like in the back row, it seemed like there was a lot more people.
Well, I'll
but maybe
admit
that's because I don't see them a lot.
Just like the award shows, I hired some stand-ins to come in and make it.
Seat fillers?
Yeah, the real good-looking people. There's some local actors.
Oh, okay.
It's a beautiful thing here to be dialed in with you on Super Bowl Monday. You're a great crowd. And we are very much looking forward to our visit later on this morning from Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. We haven't talked to Randy in about a week. He's had some things going on. And then later on this morning, I think Dr. P. Jesus is going to swing by.
He'll be here. Yep.
That son of a bitch. He never misses his opportunity, does he?
No.
Good
the only
man.
time he ever did was when he crashed his car on the way here.
And he still called in.
I
He's
love
getting his own medical attention as he calls in.
Yeah. He destroyed his vehicle, but he still called in to do the segment.
He's a solid citizen. Look, we'll take a little break, and before you know it, we'll be back with the stupid news here on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They got their heads up their ass.
On 93X.
Dana here to tell you all about my new friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. You see, I've been doing apartment living ever since my parents kicked me out back in the day, but now I'm back living in a house. I'm absolutely clueless when it comes to any project. That's where Standard comes into play. They cranked on my furnace to get her really cooking for another cold winter. And think about this. Standard's been doing this for over 95 years. That means at one point, they made sure your great-grandpappy was all nice and warm in his butt-flap jammies. So get in touch with the folks at standardheating.com and make sure you ask about becoming a Smart Club member. That's standardheating.com.
YouTube personality Benny Johnson has cracked the code on a new era of newsmaking.
It's got to be music to your ears. It's like the angels singing.
Listen, learn, and laugh.
I had a feeling you'd be in a very good mood. Oh, this is going to be a glorious day on Capitol Hill for you, sir.
It's a new cultural landscape.
So it's an important moment right now. Does this deserve another look?
The Benny Show.
Seize it in all of its glory.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
It's the day after. The day after the worst Super Bowl ever. But, as we discussed already, it turned out to be a wonderful event. Nobody wanted the douchey Kansas City Chiefs to win. F them. We've had enough of them years ago. It was wonderful what the Philadelphia Eagles did to them. Many people also have been saying that the halftime show was the worst halftime show ever. Who was the guy again?
Kendrick Lamar.
Chemical Sales Jesus texted in, Josh, and he described last night's Super Bowl halftime show as, quote, poo-poo. That's what he said about it.
I thought, with all the hype, I thought it would be better.
Oh, God. I'm sorry about that. This here first story is going to give me terrible flashbacks to one of the worst nights in my life. It happened in Fargo, North Dakota, 20 years ago or so. I've told you about it before. When me and some pals thought we were simply invited out for a typical night of drinking by another group. Another group said, why don't you boys join us? There was a big party bus that was going to pick us up, and we were going to cruise around bar to bar in Fargo. And then we were suddenly confronted with the fact that it wasn't going to be a typical night out on a party bus. We were told there was going to be a theme. If we wanted to join that party bus, we, as grown men, we were expected to dress up head to toe as clowns. And it was their bus, this other group, that invited us. So it was dress up as a clown or you can't get on the bus. We were confused. We were defiant. There was no way we were going to go along with that because of how unbelievably stupid and embarrassing the idea was. We said no, and that group never asked us to do anything with them ever again. This story's very similar. If you ask me, unless it's Halloween, there's no reason for grown people to ever go out in costume. But still, some folks think that kind of thing is cute. Like these people in a place called Athens, Georgia. If you just read the headline, you might wonder what the hell is going on. It says here, banana arrested for confronting lobster in downtown Athens.
That'll get you to click.
This nonsense was made possible because there was not only one group of grown folks out drinking in costume, there was two, which is a damn shame. A cop working the street there in Athens the other night noticed a group of males dressed as bananas confronting a pair of dudes dressed as rock lobsters. Group one was a bunch of moron college-aged kids all dressed in banana costumes involved in something called the banana bar crawl.
That sounds fun.
Doesn't surprise me to hear you say that. The other two dudes were dressed as effing rock lobsters because they had just...
Lobster!
The other two dudes were dressed as rock lobsters because they had just come from watching the local minor league hockey game in Athens. They have a hockey club called the Athens Rock Lobsters. Is everyone following this to this point?
Easy enough. Yeah.
Yep.
And probably the team is a tribute to the rock band, the B-52s, who are from Athens, Georgia, and they have that, as you just heard, perfectly obnoxious song from years ago called Rock Lobster. Anyway, the cop saw the group of dorks in banana costumes jaw-jacking and, as the cop put it, posturing with the two dickheads dressed as lobsters. Now, eventually, the groups went their separate ways, what band journey. But then one of the bananas went back and shoved one of the lobsters. So the cops had to step in. The banana was a 20-year-old kid who was about half drunk, so he was arrested for disorderly conduct and underage drinking. What a friggin' nightmare.
I would have loved to have seen that. I would assume that somebody slipped something in my drink, though, wouldn't you?
Would you have loved to have seen a busload of men in their 30s, head to toe, dressed as clowns?
Nah, I'd probably pass on that one. I don't really have a clown phobia, but that would be startling to see something like that.
Speaking of people with clown phobias, and listeners are noticing that somehow, some way, Ashley didn't make it to work today. A listener texted in and says, "So, how did Ashley's pool tournament go last night?"
I don't think did she have a pool tournament?
I don't know.
She
does go to pool tournaments.
Yeah, but she didn't. She was sick all weekend.
She says she's sick. There might have been a big pool tournament, though. I'm busting her chops. Word is she's sick. So there you go. The bananas and the rock lobsters fighting it out on the streets of a place called Athens, Georgia. You know that Rock Lobster song by the B-52s, and you played Peter Griffin's version of the song there a minute
he
ago.
perfected it.
It's not my favorite song by any stretch of the imagination. It's long. It's obnoxious. It's everything that they intended it to be. And if you don't know the song, check it out sometime. It's just the most bizarre, the B-52s, that was their style for a while. Let's be as weird as possible and see how many people take notice. And it worked. They became wildly popular, and then they went mainstream and made millions of dollars. But one of my oldest friends, if you play that song in the bar, he will lose his cool completely. He hates it so much. And so, of course, we torture him with it every once in a while. A few years ago, somebody did the old gimmick where you put it on 11 times in a row at the bar. And this old, longtime friend of mine got so mad, he threw his jacket at the bartender for not turning the jukebox off. You know anybody who has that kind of a reaction to any particular song at the bar where they say, "I'm telling you, if you play it, I'll flip out"?
The closest I can think of is there was a song by Seven Dust called Enemy, and I still love the song, but when it came out, I really loved the song. And it's very short, not very long, and I put it on, I looped it, and I was driving somewhere with a girl I was dating at the time, and she almost just drove us into oncoming. She didn't say anything ahead of time. She just snapped.
You knew she hated it ahead of time?
No. It was a new song, or newer, right? We just started playing it, and
just to annoy her.
No, I just liked it.
Oh,
so I was listening to it over and over and over again, and she didn't give me any warning that this was building up, but she freaked out to the point where it startled me. I'm like, oh my God, okay, we'll change the song.
This one pal of mine, I'm telling you, Rock Lobster, even a conversation about the song, he gets irritable. But the one night we teed off on him a good 7-8 times in a row, and he finally flipped, and it was just so pathetic, hilarious and pathetic to see a grown man throw his jacket. He throws it across the bar at the bartender.
Those are weird songs, the B-52s.
Yeah, that was their thing.
How did they get so popular for a while?
Because they were
Just
weird.
too weird, and the chick's kind of hot, and the guy talks funny.
Yeah. I got a kick out of them back in the day. I did. When I was a kid, they would always pop up on the late night shows. Here's the latest weird act, see what you think. And I got a kick. I never bought any of their records, but I thought their weirdness was appealing for a stretch of time. There was also the time when an older couple from my neighborhood bar, we all knew them very well, and they were heavy, heavy, heavy drinkers. One night, they stayed up all night because they had a plane ride scheduled for about 6 a.m. to go to Las Vegas, and they were bragging about this all week at the bar. We're going to Vegas, as if none of the rest of us have ever heard of Las Vegas, right? They were just preferred citizen. We're going to Vegas at the end of the week. Okay, good for you. They were being really dickish about it, but they were heavy drinkers. They didn't know what they were talking about half the time. They showed up after staying up all night drinking. They showed up for that 6 a.m. flight to Vegas, and the airplane said, no, you are both too drunk to get on the flight. And they caused such a ruckus at the airport, they were told to go home. When we heard this story and saw them at the bar, take a wild guess what we did with the jukebox. Viva Las Vegas, baby, until both of them had a complete friggin' meltdown. Oh, wow. Wasn't I saying something earlier, Josh, about poo-poo?
Yes. Did somebody describe the halftime show as poo-poo?
Someone described last night's halftime show as poo-poo. Prepare for just that. Our next two stories have a similar theme. And I mentioned that bananas versus rock lobsters fight gave me flashbacks. This is the type of story. This is a type of story. Even if you weren't there, that might give you flashbacks until the day that you die. In terrible England, a gal shopping for groceries got soaked in cold human urine and soft feces when a sewage pipe exploded at the grocery store.
At least it was soft.
I suppose it's not going to...
I would have preferred it to be hard. Less sticky, perhaps.
You would? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it that way, but you guys have a point. She's just shopping for this and that at the local grocery when an overhead pipe gave way, and it was just straight up turd buckets on her head.
The luck of being in that place at that time. That is so gross.
That'll give you flashbacks, even if you're just a witness. Yeah. And here is a quote from a witness to this disaster. They said a large amount of human waste and toilet water landed directly on top of her. She was soaked. The smell was horrible, they said.
Happens to the best of us, says Sewer Repair Jesus. Oh, I bet you've got some stories.
The grocery store tried to make things better by paying her tab and getting her clothes cleaned for her. And then they took to cleaning the joint up. They did, of course. How horrible. What a grand example of terrible luck, like you said, Josh. I guess something on an even bigger scale cut loose in China a few weeks ago. A sewage pipe popped and created a geyser in a neighborhood over there. Says here, pedestrians and cars were soaked in liquefied feces. Word is it was a, quote, cascade of orange-brown waste. Oh, no. This is a direct quote from the story. Human waste thundering more than 33 feet into the air is how they put it.
Another one that would have been great to have been just right place, right time.
Globules is the word they use, Josh.
That's a gross word when you're driving this. Yuck.
Globules of poo raining down, they said. I'm not making this up. This is how do you say it again? Direct quote from the story. One guy there said it wasn't so much an orange-brown color. He said it was more yellowish maroon, and his mouth was open when it popped.
I would assume you could catch something pretty bad if you're getting stranger poop in your mouth.
Ooh. Bed rest. I would imagine you're on bed rest.
Yeah, you're going to puke for a while. You know, the grocery store nice enough to clean her clothes. I think I'd just throw my clothes away if it was covered in other people's feces.
Yeah, I'll get myself another pair of pants.
Soft or otherwise.
From
I'm glad we've got everybody's stance on if they want hard or soft feces thrown at them.
Well, you're the one who brought it up.
I know. Yeah, but I feel like we all just kind of bonded now, and knowing that Josh would prefer a hard turd, I went the soft route.
And speaking of flashbacks, one of the greatest and most glorious things I ever witnessed in my life was when I was helping my wonderful late father try and repair a clogged shower drain. This was about 30 years ago. He and I were working on this clogged pipe, which hung over our heads. My dad got the pipe loosened. It was a real task. It took all of our strength just to loosen the connection. And before either of us was fully prepared for it, the contents of that clogged shower pipe, probably 30 years of shower drain filth, gave way and splashed down directly onto my dad's face. It was the blackest, slimiest, smelliest mass of filth I have ever seen in my life. And not a drop of that filth hit the floor below us. All of it landed on my dad's face. Josh, when he took his glasses off, strands of goo hung off the frames of his glasses.
Was it like a sunburn where his whole face is covered in except for the whites around his eyes?
And it was the greatest single moment of my life. I made it clear to him how happy I was to be there in that moment. And he couldn't help but enjoy it, too. He absolutely knew how monumental a father-son moment we had just experienced.
The closest I can come to that is when it looked like I was bukkakied. Our ceiling in our kitchen, it was kind of drooping in one area. And I thought, oh, no, what's going on here? And it was on my birthday. This is how I celebrated my birthday many, many years ago, maybe 2014. And I got up on a stepladder, and this was dumb. I'm like, well, I might as well poke it, see what's going on. And our tub was leaking, and it must have been leaking for a while, and I was just covered in the entire ceiling. So all that drywall and popcorn and everything was all over me, and it was wet.
Oh.
So it looked like I just got bukkakied by, I'll tell you what, a room full of very fertile men.
Oh, boy.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
In front of it? Was anyone looking?
No, but my wife heard it. Right? This big gush and crash and came down.
You were able to clean yourself up before she saw you?
Oh, no, she saw it.
Oh, so she saw you.
I mean, there's no way. That took a while to clean up.
You didn't have to have a living room camera or anything in there, did you?
Nothing.
You didn't take your hand and just wipe a little bit of it off your chin or anything like that?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was great. Well, this is just awful. Terrible and awful. Remember the theme that we got going here now. If I was running this joint, I'd do my best to keep this here problem a secret, but the word is out. I mean, I'm guessing they did everything they could, but the word is out. There's an engine plant out in effing Indiana. Indiana, I think that's how you say it. They call it, if I was worried about how to say Indiana, then imagine the nerves I'm going through right now. They call the name of this plant the Stellantis Kokomo Engine Plant. What they do there, Cubby, they make engines for the Jeep Wrangler, the Jeep Compass, and the Grand By-Dam Cherokee. That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
I bet that's a cool gig.
Wish I knew how to do something like that.
Yeah, me too. But they got an issue at the warehouse. Sounds like a cool gig, but they got an issue at the warehouse that is the absolute opposite of cool. Someone is smearing their poos all up and over the walls and on the doors and on the doorknobs, and on the sinks, and on the sink handles, and on the mirrors, and on the floor, and on the other floor. And nobody can figure out who the obviously sick maniac is. They cut a turd for you, and then they paint every inch of the place in their feces.
That's a level of rage /
Madness.
psychosis
Yeah.
that I hope I never reach.
Okay, so that's the issue over there at the warehouse. The bosses at the plant don't know who's responsible for this. None of the longtime employees know. The bosses have tried to ask the new guy if he knows anything, but he's over in the corner puking his guts out. They can't get a word out of the new guy. They got a cleaning crew at the plant. These folks are elbow deep in feces. It's gotten to the point where now the cleaning crew has been instructed to no longer clean up any of the smeared turds that they find. Instead, quote, each bathroom found in this grotesque state will be immediately locked and taken out of service until further notice. Now, I imagine they're going to call some type of DNA team or NASA or somebody to come and swab it up and conduct some kind of test to try to find out who's pushing out all this poo.
Yeah, they got to figure that out. What the hell? Otherwise, can you imagine, like, you just can't go to the bathroom anymore because of, hopefully it's just one douchebag? Nobody else can use the bathroom for a while? Yeah, hopefully they DNA test it and figure it out.
Is like that they do for dogs?
Is that what they'll do, DNA testing?
Maybe.
Or maybe a full, maybe a cavity search, a fecal sample from everyone in the warehouse?
Possibly. They do that here.
Yeah, I've been through that around here, too, the fecal samples.
Mm-hmm.
The bosses at this warehouse said alternate is how you say it. Alternate methods may be used to help pinpoint the culprit. So, right, you got to be thinking people are going to be given enemas or whatever, some kind
hidden
of
cameras.
What the hell's going on over there, Cubby?
I don't know, but so it's the Kokomo plant, and people they've been photoshopping the plant, so it says Kokomo plant at this point. A lot of poop references. Kokomo poop is another one I saw.
You bastards.
Here's a guy that, or I guess, vertically challenged Jesus, a lady, a beautiful lady, worked at a restaurant in the 90s. She had to clean bathrooms as part of her job. Someone went into the men's room, smeared poop all over the entire bathroom, and she had to clean it. They smeared it even on a paper towel dispenser. It was nasty. I quit that day.
Oh,
if you
even on the paper towel dispenser.
If you work somewhere like a public place, restaurant, grocery store, clothing store, I bet it's fairly common. I mean, I'll just tell you this. My sister, take it easy, Josh, for many years worked at clothing stores. And the ones that she worked in, specifically downtown, she said it was almost bi-weekly. Because, you got the derelicts kind of shuffling around the city streets up to no good, right? Crazy people. Maybe once every couple of weeks, one of them would come in. They wouldn't shop for anything. They'd go into the bathroom and then wipe it around the walls a little bit. Maybe write some dirty words on the wall with it, and then they'd leave. So she has experience in mopping the fecal matter of strangers off the walls and the floors.
I'm lucky. I've worked in a lot of places, never had that. I mean, we used to have masturbators maybe once or twice a month when I worked in a retail environment.
Oh, at the Target store?
Perhaps it was Target. I forget exactly the place, but yeah, there were some masturbators.
There's always got to be somebody.
I typically don't go to Target to do that.
Is that more of a Walmart thing?
It's one of those things you do in the comfort of your own home.
I almost always end up in the bathroom when I go to Target. I don't know what it is about the place. The excitement, maybe?
Well, it's right there when you walk in at most of them, right?
But don't they say, didn't we read that somewhere?
Bookstores.
Yeah, it's bookstores. It makes you have to go number 2.
Yeah.
Why specifically bookstore?
wasn't it the lights? Like the fluorescent lights make you have to poop?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know, but if I'm ever in trouble or if I ever need to go to the bathroom, it's been a while, I just go to Barnes & Noble.
I've had an emergency session at a library before.
Name a public place. Name it.
Am I forgetting a story here? Duck Butter Jesus said, didn't someone leave a cup full of poop at the 93X booth at the State Fair?
I missed that.
Really?
I completely forgot that. If that's the case, that seems like something we'd remember.
I missed that. But where
was it you? And we just didn't hear the story.
He just wants acknowledgement for what he did.
Oh, NWO Jesus worked at a gas station overnights.
Yeah.
One time, someone put poop in the liquid hand soap dispenser. He said he just tore it off the wall and threw it away.
Come on.
You don't do that.
Like I said, I mean, it's just a matter of time, really, if you work at a joint like that. Gas station, bar, restaurant, clothing, in any public place, there's going to be some whack bag that wants to show you their feces in that fashion. Where I was going with the Target thing, I don't remember it being, you guys mentioned a bookstore, and I don't remember anything about the lights. I thought we had read something where when you go to a place that you really enjoy, and for me, I really do enjoy going to Target and wandering around a little bit. I thought there was something about your body experiences some type of excitement, and it makes you want to go potty. That's what I thought we read about.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Duck Butter Jesus has gotten back to us about the poop cup at the State Fair by our booth.
Yeah?
He said some friends of his told him they did it. It was about 25 years ago. Well, yeah, that kind of sucks when you have a prank, something, and nobody notices.
Yeah.
And nobody.
Tell your friends they failed. Nobody noticed. Well, first off, it's the State Fair. If you see a cup full of poop, that's not the most shocking thing in the world.
Not to mention, they're pretty good at cleaning that place up. So
Yeah.
that might have been picked up.
When I go to the fair, I expect to see a cup of poop at one point or another. So
You're almost disappointed if you don't.
Right. Wrong location. Nothing shocking at the State Fair. So we probably just stepped right over it and didn't notice. Where am I going next? Oh, if you haven't thrown your breakfast sandwich into the trash just yet, you could watch the video that, well, I assumed maybe it was up on our website, but now our website person is gone. Ashley's not here today. What we have available, and we'll see about whether or not it's on the website, a video of a grown man who must be cracking up. Dude went ahead and took a bath in a public swimming pool, including digging quite furiously at his own anus.
I threw that up on 93x.com.
It is there?
Yep.
Wonderful. At a public pool in New Zealand. Little kids hanging around and whatnot, parents too. You know how the public pool scene plays itself out. Here comes Nutjob wearing a gray swimsuit. He hops into the pool with a bar of soap in hand, and he starts lathering up like it ain't no thing. There were folks who recorded this guy in action. They can't believe their effing eyes. Eventually, the dude fires that bar soap down the back of his swim trunks and just starts attacking his dirty ass with it.
He was vigorous about it as well.
And you can hear someone on the video say, "What the F?" Someone else in the video says, "All right, kids, get out of the pool." I like that line. And they did. Everyone was running for their lives. Plenty of comments cut loose on social media when this video was posted. One gal said, "This is how I got severely sick once. I was in a pool and this guy thought it was a great idea to have a bath in there. Within 2 days, I was severely sick, vomiting. Hospital told me I had an infection in my blood." Now, some folks defended the dude. The guy who used a public pool as his own personal bathtub. There's always going to be some wild cards out there who are going to claim the wildest things. But one person said, "It's okay for kids with stink ass," is how they put it, "to swim in a public pool, but not okay for a man to clean himself. I've heard children laugh about taking a piss in the pool, so who's the gross one?" Okay, the answer is both. And by the way, nobody was comparing this man washing his anus to kids urinating in the pool. The question is, was it right or wrong? It's clearly wrong.
That perhaps is the dumbest argument I hope I hear all week.
No one was comparing this man to little kids pissing in the pool. The question is, was it the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do? And I think you know the answer, argumentative lady. Good God. Some claim the man was known in the neighborhood to be mentally unwell. Well, it certainly seems that way.
I see no evidence of that.
You want to have that itchy butt later.
I would think, by damn, we're on a prank video show. This is a fully bearded adult male just jumps into the pool and...
I would too.
He's doing the armpits. He's doing his beard with bar soap, his hairdo, and you got to be thinking, okay...
I'm going to be on TikTok here.
Yeah, where are the internet, where are the YouTube kids here? Where is this coming from? And then when that bar soap touched his beehole, that's when folks started running for their damn lives.
Side note, I don't really get in there and do what that guy did in the shower and whatnot. Are you supposed to do that?
Well, maybe that's why you have so many problems with your butt.
You think so?
And you always have hemorrhoids, and you always have some
I'm done
kind
with that. I haven't in a long time.
leakage.
Things have been way better.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, you should wash your ass. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, you should get up there.
What do you use?
Whatever you got.
Yeah.
A towel? A loofah?
A friend?
What do I do? I mean, then
What do you mean? You don't ever wash that spot?
No.
Oh God.
No, that's sinful.
For the rest of us.
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead and go to hell for sticking your hand back there. I'm not gonna.
Please, Cubby, just take an old rag and put a little soap and water on that sumbit.
Yeah, but what do you do with the rag afterwards?
You
mix
rinse
with
it off,
your other
whatever,
clothes
throw it away.
Give it to a
friend.
It's your butt rag now.
That final step is your business. But I'm just saying, I mean, when you take your pants off to get in bed, does the wife ever go, "Oh, Jesus Christ"?
All the time, but it's probably unrelated.
Please, Cubby, do the neighborhood a favor. Wash your ass.
Oh, see, okay, here we go. You picked him up, you dropped him. Jesus said you used the toilet brush because it exfoliates.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Emergency room, here you come.
Painful.
I mean, hey, I never wash my feet.
Yeah, I don't
And
either.
you can tell by looking at them that I never wash my feet. So we all have our shortcomings, but I just, as a friend, wash your ass.
All right, so I'll have to get a special butt towel. Actually, somebody says just use your wife's.
Use her.
Yeah, her loofah.
Her loofah. She won't notice a damn thing.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Going to round it up. We will count down these seconds for you.
Gotta do it, boys
They
and
are
girls.
jamming the field. 3, 2, 1. It's over. The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59. They have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22. What a game. What a season. What a team.
Eagles football brought to you by Washburn McCreevy Funeral Home.
If you listen to the full audio of that, he actually counted down from like 19. It was very painful and awkward to listen to.
Yes, I removed the majority of that, as you can tell.
That was old Merrill Reese with the radio call of the Eagles' win last night. Brought to you by Washburn McCreevy Funeral Home. Yeah, the Eagles did everyone a great favor last night. America owes them one. They do.
Quite the shellacking.
It was a curb stomp. Full on curb stomping. When Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder check in a half hour, we can talk on and on and on and on about last night's football game, whether you saw a lot of it or not. Josh watched every damn thing. I barely paid attention. Dana didn't really pay. It was the worst Super Bowl ever. You know, I knew I wasn't going to pay full attention to this situation.
If you didn't watch any of it, the score, it wasn't even as close as the score indicates.
No.
I mean, that was garbage time when they came back and got a couple.
Right. 40-22, I think is how they wrapped it up.
Yeah.
My beloved Timberwolves are on the road for a one-off game in Cleveland tonight. Before we go, we were talking about, unfortunately, if you work in a public place with a bathroom, gas station, bar, restaurant, clothing store, shopping mall, whatever, there's always going to be some lunatic who has to walk into the bathroom, make feces, and then paint with it, smear it all. It's just, unfortunately, it's only a matter of time. We had a couple stories in the stupid news that reinforced that fact. Got a couple of text messages. Sadly, I hate I hate that this is reality, but it is. Got a couple of text messages. Top Rope Barbecue Jesus said the things that I saw working at a water park as a young person, pure nightmare fuel, he calls it, Josh.
Oh, I've heard. I mean, when you have a place, especially with a lot of kids, and they have blowouts and whatnot, I've heard that can be real bad.
I went to a famous water park once, and it was just dirty diapers, kids making messes, every mess you could imagine. Everything that might leak out of a kid ends up on the floor. This is horrible. What does this say? I work at a hospital in St. Paul. Hospital, okay. Yeah. And they say, I can confirm poop finger painting happens on a daily basis here.
Every day.
Every day.
Oh, no.
I told you about the time I went into the hospital, Josh, when I had testicular torsion.
I actually thought of that very recently because one of the shows I'm watching, The Pit on Max, which is very good. It's like a medical drama. And a guy came in with testicular torsion. And I turned to my wife and said, I know a guy who had the same thing.
That aches.
And I hope you weren't in the same condition as he was because he looked miserable. And I'd imagine your mom wasn't there with you, but your sister was,
my sister was there, and my niece were there to experience my testicular torsion, and it was a lot of pain. It really was. But so I'm hanging around this hospital waiting for my turn, and I had to take a squeege. And I walked into one of the bathrooms, and it looked like someone had cleaned a deer in there. There was so much blood on the walls and the floor. Now, we're moving away from feces now. We're just moving over to blood. There was blood sprayed all over the bathroom. So I took my squeege. I limped my way back to my chair. And on the way back to my chair, I alerted an employee. I said, you ought to go in that bathroom. It's brutal. There's blood everywhere. And the lady said, oh, again? I mean, they deal with that all the time.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Again.
Saints. Every single one of them.
Oh,
all
Christ.
saints.
Got to go in there with a sponge. We will be back in a few minutes with Josh's news report.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They got their heads up their ass.
On 93X.
Dana here to tell you all about my new friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. You see, I've been doing apartment living ever since my parents kicked me out back in the day, but now I'm back living in a house. I'm absolutely clueless when it comes to any project. That's where Standard comes into play. They cranked on my furnace to get it really cooking for another cold winter. And think about this. Standard's been doing this for over 95 years. That means at one point, they made sure your great-grandpappy was all nice and warm in his butt-flap jammies. So get in touch with the folks at standardheating.com and make sure you ask about becoming a Smart Club member. That's standardheating.com.
The Bigger Pockets Podcast Network is your home, get it, for real estate investing.
I am very tired of people saying that your primary residence is not an investment.
Get real talk from real estate pros about investing strategies that work.
I bought a house for $1 and it makes me $1 million.
You can become a real estate millionaire over the course of like 5 or 6 years.
No one needs a stock. No one needs cryptocurrency. They need a house.
Bigger Pockets. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
I was absolutely terrified. My anxiety was really bad. Me and my mom were shaking the whole time, and we were praying the whole time. And I didn't know what was going to happen. It was really scary.
A 32-year-old passenger aboard a Frontier Airlines flight to Houston had a violent outburst Wednesday after being asked to move, punching and kicking in his seat until he cracked one layer of the plane's window mid-flight and covered it in blood.
We turned around and we saw this guy just punching out the window, and immediately we screamed for help.
A woman asked if the man would be willing to change seats. And right when she did, he freaked out harder than Dana's meltdown over the 2021 chicken wing shortage.
The flight attendants, they just disappeared. They went to go ask for help, but I didn't know where they went at the time. And it seemed like everybody in his row, in the row in front of him, kind of moved away. And so it's just me and this man, and I start freaking out. I'm having a panic attack.
Oh.
Tears. I'm screaming like, somebody come help us. I'm scared.
There was no police or air marshals on the plane, so travelers, including a military veteran, jumped in to detain the man using zip ties and shoelaces. The FBI is investigating that incident.
Another airplane ride meltdown, huh?
A couple of them here.
Couple of them?
Yes, a couple of them. Just a day after that guy completely lost his crap mid-flight, a woman in Singapore had a toilet tantrum which turned a takeoff into turmoil. Singapore Airlines Flight 826 was about to take off early Thursday when a woman demanded to use the restroom.
I gotta go.
Flight attendants told her she needed to stay seated during taxiing, but instead of following the rules, she shoved her way past them, locked herself in the lavatory, and refused to come out. That forced the pilots to turn the plane around, delaying the flight by nearly 2 hours.
The lavatory. I haven't heard that since grade school.
When she finally emerged, frustrated passengers confronted her over the delay. One infuriated flyer said they needed to get to work, to which she responded, "How's that my business?"
Oh.
And she said, "If you're so rich, find a different job." Okay.
He didn't say anything about being... Did he say anything about...
No,
of course
never
he
said
didn't.
they were rich.
No.
Just said, "Hey, I'm kind of running late for work here."
That'd be rude to bring up money in that situation.
Since you bring it up, we're actually struggling a little bit at the house.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right.
The comment went over about as well as you'd expect, and by the time police boarded to escort the woman and her companion off the flight, the cabin erupted in applause.
Get her out of here, they said.
A judge near Buffalo, New York, has resigned again after decades-old allegations resurfaced as he staged a fake court proceeding to help out a friend. Former Associate Judge Louis Villalante first got into trouble when he attended a church event where his friend, Daniel Endress, mentioned that he had a court date for a suspended vehicle registration ticket. The judge reportedly told him, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." And he did, but not in any legal way. Instead of handling the case properly, he recruited a police officer to pretend he was Endress in court. A transcript showed the officer pretending to be the ticketed driver cited financial hardships and work conflicts to justify dismissing the charge. No prosecutor was present, yet the judge tossed out the case based on the fake testimony. When the judge's misconduct was exposed, he resigned, only to be reinstated when the mayor deemed him highly qualified and worthy of a second chance. But that redemption was short-lived. When the fabricated court case returned last month, he stepped down again, this time vowing never to return.
Okay, it's one thing for one guy to pull off this community theater acting gimmick in court. Who's the cop he convinced to help him with this?
I don't know, either a very good buddy or...
Cop who owed him a favor?
Yeah, something. I'm with you on that. Like, I wouldn't want to be involved at all. Over a ticket?
Yeah.
I'm going to risk my job for that? No thanks.
F me running.
We're actually struggling at home right now.
You mentioned that earlier.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, I was a different person then. This time I'm the cop in this story. Robocallers posing as FCC employees made the mistake of trying to scam real FCC employees. Whoops. The FCC announced last week robocallers posing as agency staff ended up targeting the real FCC employees and their families by mistake. Over a dozen reported getting calls from the artificial voice claiming to be from the FCC's fraud prevention team, Fraud, urging them to press 1 to speak or 2 to schedule a callback. However, no such team exists, especially not one that demands Google gift cards instead of jail time. And the misdialed real FCC employees knew that. According to their enforcement bureau, the calls aimed to threaten, intimidate, and defraud. One victim who engaged with the scammer was told they owed the FCC $1,000 in Google gift cards to avoid jail for, quote, crimes against the state.
For Christ's sake, on and on with these telephone scams.
Yeah, they're going after these guys big time. They're looking for about $5 million. And they said, if you're going to scam someone, here's our advice. Don't start with the people whose job it is to shut you down. While the FCC shut down scammers, a Pennsylvania church was praying for quieter voicemails. A man there is facing charges after bombarding a church with dozens of obscene voicemails for some reason. 67-year-old Christ Wolf has been calling the church.
It's a hell of a name.
Yeah.
Who the hell calls the church with dirty talk?
Hey, this is Christ. I'm like, no way!
No, not that Christ.
Yeah, different Christ.
Christ Wolf.
Yeah,
I understand the.
Yeah, my first name is Christ, not the.
He likes to talk dirty to the church.
I guess.
Okay.
He had 30 profanity-laced vulgar messages for multiple church staff members over the span of several weeks. He would leave the voicemails there, for the church.
I would imagine that the church isn't going to get a lot of my boner jokes. You know what I mean?
But you guys have no sense of humor whatsoever.
Got to know your audience a little bit.
A Virginia man found himself in handcuffs after mistaking a Wednesday night Bible study for a full-blown human trafficking operation and taking investigative matters into his own very misguided hands. Authorities say 48-year-old David Campbell, who went on a self-appointed undercover mission, began barging into his neighbor's home to play hero. About 7:35 p.m. last Wednesday, Campbell, already annoyed by double-parked cars, convinced himself something far more sinister was unfolding.
This guy watches too many friggin' movies.
You know, the cops made a joke about that, too. So he stormed into the residence, spotted a group of people, and immediately concluded he just uncovered a massive crime ring. They're all holding Bibles.
Right.
Fueled by his own conspiracy theories and maybe something a little stronger. They're investigating that. Campbell dialed 911 while aggressively cursing at the innocent attendees, none of whom were running a criminal enterprise. Deputies arrived to find the man standing in the middle of the street, ready to argue his case, less concerned about the actual laws he was breaking, more focused on demanding deputies identify everyone inside the residence.
Mm-hmm.
Neighbors say Campbell didn't just stop at wild accusations. He forced his way into the house, nearly struck an ordained minister, and threatened to punch another man. Instead of cracking the case, he ended up with a list of charges, a night in jail, and the realization he broke up a Bible study, not a human trafficking ring.
Man, that sucks.
That would be so embarrassing. I mean, assuming this guy's lucid enough to understand,
Right.
How embarrassing would that be?
Okay, you see, what I thought was...
What has gotten into this guy?
Two men in Missouri found themselves in handcuffs last week after making a series of unfortunate decisions, starting with asking for directions from the worst possible people. Thinking they were lost, the pair pulled up to what they assumed were a couple of locals who could point them toward a nearby town. But they ran into some problems. Unfortunately for them, they were already in that town. And to make matters worse, the locals there were cops with their drug-sniffing canine in the middle of a drug task force training exercise, which is particularly bad news if you happen to have drugs in your car, which they did. Sensing something was off, the officers had their canine conduct a search. Didn't take long for the dog to sniff out a jar inside the vehicle containing 2 grams of meth. Now, instead of directions to their destination, they might need directions to the courtroom as they're scheduled to appear before a judge tomorrow.
So,
the luck.
Piss poor luck. Running around town, car loaded drugs. Don't know where they're at, right? They stop for directions.
Yeah, I guess the GPS wasn't working or what?
You know, Josh, that I have a terrible sense of direction. If I'm familiar with the area, I can get you there. But north, south, east, west doesn't mean a damn thing to me. I just wasn't born with that skill set. Terrible sense of direction. Did I ever tell you about the time I'm at the gas station in my neighborhood? A lady asked me, how do I get to this, that, and the other place? And I knew the place she was asking about. And I said, well, yeah, I can help you. And I said, go this way, that way, and the other way. And she said, thank you very much. And as soon as she drove away, because of my terrible sense of direction, as soon as she drove away, I realized I sent her absolutely 100% in the opposite direction.
Oh, no.
Because of my lack of a grasp of north, south, east, and west, I just sent her in the absolute wrong direction. And she was so happy that I helped her in that situation. And I was pleased with myself for about 5 seconds until I realized I just sent this gal to Osseo.
Oh, man.
Just stupid.
That sucks.
That's just how I'm wired. I just have no sense of direction.
And did you say it very confidently to her, too? Like you knew exactly what you were talking about?
I can't say that I was confident. All I know is I thought, if this woman dies, her blood is on my hands.
Or maybe you saved her because there was a fiery crash if you had given her the right directions.
That's a way to look at it.
I'll be damned.
She died that day, Dana.
Oh, no.
She drove off a bridge under construction.
Oh, that's terrible.
Rest in peace.
A 59-year-old man caught with his pants down in a sauna told a court in England he was just warming up his chicken. But what he was really doing was choking it. The man had just finished swimming at a university leisure center when a woman spotted him staring at her. According to prosecutors, he had his shorts down to his knees and was touching himself, claiming he got aroused from the feeling of the pool jets on his butthole.
He did not say that to her, did he?
He did.
That's terrible.
Staff confronted him, banned him on the spot, and called police. He admitted touching himself, but denied masturbating or that it was a sexual act, despite the fact that he mentioned he was turned on.
What?
He claimed he was just cold from swimming, and he put his hands into his shorts to warm up. The staff member who confronted the horny Brit said he didn't witness the act, but recalled the woman looking flustered and pale in the face. She told him, "I think he's having a wank." That's what they say over there.
Yeah, I know.
He also revealed the man had done some weird stuff before, including pulling his shorts down near the pool's air vents. But management had previously decided there wasn't enough evidence to confront him. Then came the chicken moment. When a staff member asked what he was doing, the man casually responded, "My chicken," while making a suggestive hand gesture. I took that to mean he was adjusting himself, the staffer explained. "Chicken is what I call my genitals," he told officers.
This guy's got to go.
Claiming he was just adjusting the inner layer of his shorts due to dry, itchy skin. San Francisco prosecutors have charged a well-known local nudist who goes by the nickname McGreasy with indecent exposure again after following a group of young women while masturbating.
McGreasy.
McGreasy.
Not an appealing nickname.
Authorities say 35-year-old Michael Watson, a.k.a. McGreasy, was caught in the act of greasing the goalpost in front of a group of young women as they grabbed a drink at a nearby boba shop. It's not his first brush with the law either. He has a prior conviction for indecent exposure after unlawfully entering someone's home. Despite the seriousness of the allegations, McGreasy's arrest only came after frustrated parents publicly called out law enforcement for inaction.
How did he get the nickname?
McGreasy?
Yeah.
He must just be kind of gross looking, right?
You didn't see a picture of the guy?
No, I didn't see.
And I know this has nothing to do with the story, but what in the hell is a boba shop?
Boba tea?
That's very popular these days.
Yeah, it's kind of all the rage for some folks.
Haven't heard a word about it.
Those places keep popping up. I think we got like 3 by us.
It is insane.
Yeah.
Big Al and Hairdo and Curtis, they don't really talk about boba tea. You know what I mean? Wang's never heard of boba tea.
What about hot tub?
Not a chance he knows anything about. He lives in Nisswa. He doesn't know anything about boba
he
tea.
does not know.
He doesn't even know about Boba Fett.
Now streaming on Netflix, U.S. soldiers and Somali fighters recall the 1993 downing of 3 Black Hawk helicopters during a Battle of Mogadishu in the new miniseries Surviving Black Hawk Down.
Never saw it.
Well, it just comes out today.
No, I mean, but Black Hawk Down, the movie.
The Josh Hartnett movie?
Oh, yeah.
You should watch it.
That's what everyone
so
tells me.
Oh, it's excellent.
You might get pissed at a couple of scenes.
I'd imagine he will.
I don't mind getting pissed during a movie.
Elizabeth Banks, 51 today. Happy birthday to the apple of my eye and one hell of a guy. My stepson Cam turning 26. Hoping Nitromania Jesus has a great birthday today. Happy birthday to Dirty Dave Jesus from Special X Teacher Jesus. And a shout out to Vacation Jesus, who's living up to his name this morning by streaming from Costa Rica. We appreciate that. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
For the second time, the Vince Lombardi Trophy is headed to Philadelphia. Eagles fly in Super Bowl 59.
Nick, Super Bowl champions. What does the moment mean?
This is the ultimate team game. You can't be great without the greatness of others. These guys did not want to let each other down.
Jalen, you said after Super Bowl 57, you sat in the locker room and you thought to yourself, I'll be back. You got back, and now you're a champion. How does that feel?
I couldn't do any of these things without the guys around me. You know, we got a special group this year. We were able to learn from the past, and we're still processing it.
Oh, man, the Philadelphia Eagles did everyone a great favor last night. America owes them one. Before we go sideways and talk about what we did or did not see from last night's ball game, let's say hello to our bros. Brad Ryder. Hello, Brad.
Good morning.
And it's been a smooth week since we've heard from Randy Shaver. Randy, welcome back to the show. Folks were concerned. How are you, Randy?
I'm doing good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You sound a little tired. We understand you've been through something extraordinary.
Unfortunately so. My 2-year-old granddaughter is still in the ICU here in Florida, but she's doing so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been a brutal almost 2 weeks. The start of it was great. We had such a great time, and then she got sick. And so we've been dealing with that, but she's getting stronger every day. She's herself. That's all we cared about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's doing good.
Wow. I mean, you were updating us periodically on this.
Yeah.
And of course, we were very worried and sending you all the love we could muster.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that things are better.
Yeah.
And listeners were too. I text you that
Yep.
you got a lot of nice texts from people who were very concerned.
Well, I appreciate that, and the concern was real. It pains me to say this, but on that Friday, January 31st, the doctors at the ER saved her life. She had had a seizure on that Friday. We rushed her to the hospital, which the urgent care was like 10 minutes from where we're staying. Had we not been able to get her there fast enough, her oxygen levels had dropped because of the seizure. She aspirated into her lungs. They intubated her, and they saved her life. It's about as simple as I can put it. And then they transferred her to a hospital here in Orlando that specializes in children's care. And she has had a very hard time the first 4 or 5 days, intubated at 2 years old. Took the tube out last Wednesday. She's doing way better. She tried to stand up yesterday. She's still weak, but she's getting stronger every day. And like I said, the one thing that we cared about the most was, is she herself? And
Right.
she is. She's given the nurses crap. She's being a little stinker. As soon as we brought her little brother up 2 days ago for the first time, she started screaming at him because she didn't want to play with him. I mean, she's herself, and that's what we cared about the most. And so she'll probably be here through the end of this week, I'm guessing, and then her and her dad can hopefully head home by the end of this week. So
You sound like a man who could use a good night's sleep and maybe a stiff drink.
Well, the funny part, obviously we were so worried about Bella and so terrified at what happened. But then the other side of that is that Roseanne and I had to take care of my 1-year-old grandson for 8 days in a row. And basically on our own. And for two spry 60-year-olds, we met our match pretty early on. So this was the first night Rocco and my daughter-in-law flew back yesterday just to get him back in his routine and all of that, now that Bella has turned the corner and is doing better. So last night it was quiet in my house for the first time in 8 days. And not that I don't love my grandson, trust me, I do. But it was tough.
So are you and Roseanne still in Florida, though?
Oh yeah, we're going to be here for a while. And as it turned out, where we're staying, how we had this all set up, it's turned out to be kind of a blessing in so many ways. And so my youngest son, who's a doctor, and his wife happened to be here when Bella had her seizure. He was able to help us. It just, so many things fell into place to allow us to be able to take care of her in a very quick way. We didn't anticipate this happening, but we all were able to figure it out quickly. And thank God that emergency room urgent care was not that far away. And so it was a harrowing, heartbreaking, super sad 4 or 5 days, but we are we're blessed now that she's okay.
People are texted in left and right with well wishes for you, Randy Shaver. The brother and sisterhood always has your back. I told you Florida sucks. I told you that many times.
Well, it does in some ways, Nick.
Yeah.
But I will always appreciate what happened here this week.
How about that friggin' hospital staff?
You know,
they're the friggin' best.
They are, and there was some frustration at the beginning trying to figure out what was going on with her. It ran the myriad of so many different things that could have been wrong with her. It just turns out that this febrile seizure stuff that she has just happened again, and it was a much more severe this time. So
a listener just texted in and guessed febrile seizure from hearing you talk.
She had one in December at her house. It's the first time that we had recognized this, and this time it was not as leading up to it was not as obvious, and so that's why we were a little surprised. But we recognized it right away. Now she'll be on some seizure medication until she outgrows this, and that will give us all peace of mind. But yeah, it's
difficult and scary when that kind of thing happens to a young kid.
Yeah, because they can't communicate at all, and no offense to this area of Kissimmee and Orlando, but if you call for an ambulance with the traffic situation in this area, you're going to wait a long time. And we realized we couldn't wait. And so, like I said, we kind of had to take matters into our own hands, and I'm glad we did. That doctor at that ER saved her life, and it's just we're blessed.
There's quite a few people texting in right now who have had family members and young children who have had similar experiences, and they're all wishing you the best, Randy Shaver.
I appreciate it. I can't say thank you enough to all the people who supported my son and his wife, who thought about him, cared enough to write a message, to say a prayer. Prayer is real, and we are all truly thankful for everybody.
Terrific. A few people are wondering, do we have to make a run at Peppa Pig and straighten him out? Is this Peppa Pig's fault?
No, it's not. In fact, Peppa Pig on that Wednesday was the most glorious day of my granddaughter's life. And I want that to be an everlasting, beautiful memory for her. So I will never disparage Peppa Pig.
Yeah, put away the ski masks, everybody. We're not going to take out Peppa Pig.
We are not taking out Peppa.
All right. People they're what's the word I'm looking for, Josh? They're defensive of you, if that's the problem.
They want to protect you. Stand
they
up
want
for you.
revenge.
Protective of you.
We don't need revenge.
No revenge
Peppa.
necessary on Peppa Pig.
No.
Some guy's turning his car around right now.
Or tucking his baseball bat back into the trunk.
Exactly.
No, he called us off, boys. He called us off.
Oh, we got to go to work now?
Oh, man.
Now we're going to beat up a pig.
Well, that sounds like an absolutely horrible experience. We're so glad that things are better, and we missed you.
Well, I missed you guys. I missed the normalcy, and I'm just really happy to be back.
It's funny, Josh, how you can miss someone that you genuinely just don't care for.
It took you a while to miss.
What is this feeling I'm having?
I'd say it took you till Thursday to even notice he was gone.
That's right. I looked at Dana and Josh, and I said, what is this feeling? They said, well, it's natural. You missed a man. I said, no, that can't be it. That
can't be it.
But that was
I despise him, you said.
No. We love you, Randy Shaver. We love your family, too, and we're glad that things are turned around.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Family is good people. God dang it. And it made us all sad and worried.
Yeah.
Here, you want to talk normalcy? Let's get normal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Thank you.
For putting a stop to the nonsense by totally curb stomping the Kansas City Chiefs last night in what they call Super Bowl 59. They created a happy ending for the worst Super Bowl ever.
I'm with you 1,000%.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying I wanted Kansas City to win.
Brad.
Come on, now.
Dang it,
Brad. We're actually going to like a Philadelphia team for a day.
one night.
We can do that for a day.
We can do that for 48 hours and be okay people, Brad.
Yeah,
We're
we're not moving there, Brad.
All right.
We had a common enemy. Your allies for a brief moment.
And hopefully this is the end of the Chiefs era.
Let's hope it's over.
As the dominant team in the AFC. I'm tired of them. Let's move on. Let's hope that. I mean, I think a lot of their flaws were shown last night. Their offensive line did not play well at all. Their defense was on their heels after the first few possessions, after the first few punts by Philadelphia. Their offense got going. The Chiefs' defense was on their heels for most of the night. They just could not figure out how to stop Philadelphia. But Mahomes was just not very good. He just did not have a good night, and you have to give the Eagles defense.
Oh hell yeah!
They got beaten. They got beaten every phase of the game, the whole game. I don't care what they did the last 10 minutes of the game. The game was over.
Oh hell yeah!
But you know what? Brad? It's the same thing that we've talked about what the Eagles do and how they draft their lines on the offensive and defensive lines. Always seem to dominate football games, and that's where it starts, and that's how they draft.
And we talk about that all the time. About that's what teams need to blueprint in the draft, and everybody's going after this quarterback in the first round and that quarter. I mean, that's fine, but they showed again how you win for the long term is you build the offensive line and the defensive line, and the only reason that they flew under the radar at all this year, to me, is because they had a couple nagging injuries at certain times of the year. A couple offensive linemen were out here, not for long stretches, but enough that they lost a game here or there. But when they got healthy and those receivers got healthy, then they couldn't be stopped.
And the beauty of it last night was they didn't need Barkley to go nuts. No. They didn't need that. They got good field position because of turnovers, for sure. Took advantage of those turnovers, but they dominated their defensive line, and Josh Sweat just had a huge night, just played great. And Mahomes was just not Mahomes.
They made him look like a damn jackass is what they did.
He could not figure out. I mean, that interception for a touchdown, I have no idea who he was throwing the ball to.
The guy wasn't open.
Really, honestly, and that doesn't happen for him, right? I mean, he usually is making great plays.
They made him look like jackasses.
I saw a little bit of speculation that maybe he got hurt in the first quarter. If you watch a hit that he took to the head and how his head bounced off the turf in the first quarter, there's some people speculating that maybe he should have gone in the tent because he wasn't right after that.
So they made him nuts right away.
Yeah.
That's the key to beating Patrick Mahomes. Hit him and make him nuts. And it was exactly what we all needed to see. Josh said that that Kelsey dude was pouting like a child up and down the...
They showed that a lot, yeah.
I love it. Brad, allow yourself to feel good about this. We had a couple text messages earlier say, well, how can you root for the Philadelphia Eagles? For 1 or 2 days to end the madness, I think it's okay to root for the Philadelphia Eagles. I thank them. I owe them one. Are you going to allow yourself to feel good about this, Brad?
I don't feel bad about it. I'm just giving you the other side. So,
if Rocky Balboa is happy, I'm happy.
Is Sly pumped about this?
Well, just character in general from Philadelphia.
Not only am I not losing sleep over it, I didn't watch a minute of the second half. I watched the whole first half, but I didn't watch any of the second half.
Well, Josh is the only one, and it sounds like Randy Shaver, who really got invested in this. I had it on the television, but I had the sound completely off, and I just kind of looked up once in a while and said, no kidding, 35? I just kept looking up to see. I didn't see the halftime show. Folks say it was the worst halftime show ever.
I
didn't watch it.
All right.
I watched it. I mentioned this earlier. My wife's a huge fan. She was looking forward to it. It was just a bit underwhelming. I expected greatness. I'd heard so many good things, and, maybe it was just an off night.
It's all so overrated in the first place, the friggin' halftime show. Jalen Hurts is the MVP.
Yep.
And like I said earlier, finally something all of America can agree on and be happy about. We love you, Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
We didn't mean what we said about you before. You're all right by us.
People joke that the refs really didn't show up last night for Kansas City.
No.
They had a real bad game.
No. The refs finally decided to Eagles defensive back Cooper DeJean became the first NFL player with a Super Bowl touchdown on his birthday.
He turned 22 yesterday. Think about that.
Imagine that.
And he looks
22 years old, interception for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's
against
amazing.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Give us an idea of what your day-to-day was like when you were 22, Brad Ryder.
Ooh, yeah.
Let's see. How old was I? I was 1990.
How old were you when you were 22?
I was going to guess 22.
I was trying to think of the year, Dana.
Yes.
It was 1990.
1990. You were 22 years old.
Yep.
Were you a student in college?
No, I think I was done, but I think I was sharing a house with 4 other guys in Columbia Heights.
Oh my God!
And
was there no other houses available?
You're right. I'm trying to paint the opposite picture of Cooper DeJean here.
Which one of you decided to get a house in Columbia Heights?
I was coaching baseball part time, and I was working at the YMCA part time.
Maybe it was court mandated or something.
Brad, out of college, that's what you were doing?
For the first year out of college, yeah, I didn't.
You couldn't find a job?
I didn't know what I wanted to do, Randy. I didn't.
Out of college, you still didn't know what you wanted to do?
No, it took me a year.
If you were my kid, I would have just kicked you.
Well, my dad did a few times, and then I decided to go start some graduate classes at the U, and that's where I met the people at the U that I got involved with there. So that's how I got started. But for the first year,
crazy.
For the first year out of college, I really didn't have a clue as to what I wanted to do. I had this degree in hand, and I had no idea.
Well, everything turned out just beautiful, right, Brad?
They did, but when I was 22, that's why I was trying to think of, okay, what was I doing when I was 22? I was kind of a bum when I was 22.
Well, I mean, I was driving the Zamboni, I think.
At 22?
Yeah, I was driving the Zamboni for a living.
How about you, Josh? What were you doing?
Well, he was here.
I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that same chair, the exact same chair.
Pretty much.
I mean,
same clothes.
I believe my
same clothes for sure. At least the same boxer.
Yeah, definitely.
I've had these since high school.
I believe my very first year at the radio station was right when I turned 23. So I was, still kind of. I was going to school at Brown Institute. Although I enjoyed Brown. But, Brad, that's okay. Randy, why are you so shocked that a guy wouldn't know?
Because he's had such a successful career. I just assumed that he, right out of college, knew what he wanted to do and
Thank you, Brad says. Thank you.
No, I take pride in it now that I figured it out, and you're right. I think I have done okay for myself, but it did take me a while. My dad was in the same boat as you, Randy. He was on my backside for a while toward the end, and then I decided, okay, I got to get my dad off my butt because he was threatening to make me move home and work on the farm.
No.
And I loved growing up on the farm, but I didn't want to do it, so then I got him off my backside for a while by taking some grad classes at the U, and that's when I met the people over there, and yeah.
Hey, Brad Ryder. This is a great text message from Painfully Dry Humor Jesus. You're struggling a little bit with the Philadelphia Eagles being Super Bowl champions. I mean, they ended the nonsense and the madness for a lot of us. We don't love the Eagles most days. We don't love their fans most days. But what did you say something about we had a common enemy?
Common enemy.
Okay. This is a great way to look at it, Brad Ryder. Painfully Dry Humor Jesus says, have you heard of World War II? Let's just consider the Philadelphia Eagles, the Soviet Union.
Okay.
In that situation. You following what they're saying there?
Yep, I am.
We weren't exactly crazy about the Russians being on our side in World War II, but they helped us defeat a common enemy.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who watches the History Channel right there.
Right.
Last night's game, Jake Elliott became officially the most accurate kicker in Super Bowl history. I'm a special teamer. I'm a special teams fan, so I'm always going to try to throw this kind of thing at you. He kicked a 48-yard field goal during the second quarter, and that moved him past Ray Wersching for the Super Bowl record. Yes, for the Super Bowl record for most field goals attempted without a miss. If you're a younger person, look up a picture of Ray Wershing.
I was just going to say that.
And you're going to say, that guy played football?
He's going to look like the guy who makes the donuts at the bakery shop.
Right. I mean, I know he was just
like.
a kicker. I know he was a kicker.
Yes.
But he looks, Randy's right. He looks like the guy that hands out cupcakes at the bakery.
Oh, I want to drink beers with this guy.
Ray Wershing.
I'm buying his jersey.
Oh, my God.
Little portly little sumbitch had a stash on his face.
Yes, that's him.
And he kicked footballs for a living.
Oh, my God.
There's no way he ever walked into a bar and anyone said, hey, do you play for the 49ers? No way.
I can still picture his football card. You know, when you used to go buy cards, you know, as a kid. I can still picture his card. He's got that black mustache. My God, that's hilarious.
He just had the one bar. Now, a lot of kickers.
Oh, yeah, they all did.
But he had the one bar to show off that mustache.
Yes.
So folks could see the stat. The city of Philadelphia is being stomped into oblivion as we speak. Saw a couple reports about the place burning to the ground.
Oh,
I haven't seen anything new, just some stuff that came out last night.
I was looking at a police blotter, and it's like a movie credit, right? There's so much stuff coming in. Some banks had their windows blown out. There's fires.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You can see some of the madness on 93x.com.
Have they killed anybody?
Not that I've seen. No.
All right, good.
Man.
Or if they have, so far they've gotten away with it.
Oh, by the way, yesterday, I missed all of this as well. I never got around to watching the Puppy Bowl. But apparently a Minnesota dog won the most valuable puppy trophy at this year's Puppy Bowl.
Whoa. Yeah, we finally won something on Super Bowl Sunday. Let's get this down.
Yeah, exactly.
Randy's laughing because he knows if he was in the newsroom today, there'd be all kinds of people trying to get stories about the dog.
Oh, yeah. Let's find out who the owner is.
Yep.
Foxtrot is the name of a collie from a company here in town called Pet Haven of Minnesota. Foxtrot ended up being on television yesterday in the Puppy Bowl, and he helped his club win the game, and he was given the trophy Most Valuable Puppy. There was also another local dog on television yesterday, and Josh, his name was Potato.
Cute.
That is a cute name.
And they were running around. I missed it. I forgot all about the Puppy Bowl.
I watched it. It was a lot of fun, as always.
Do they still have the kitten halftime show?
I didn't see the halftime show.
You didn't see the kitty halftime show.
Team Fluff, they won.
Paws has the donut with room to run. The 20, the 10, touchdown, touchdown. Unbelievable. Paws Allen runs it in as time expires. Can you believe it? And Team Fluff, they're the world champions.
The Fluff cheerleaders storm the field in celebration, and the fans are going crazy.
Pause, Alan. That's so cute.
No.
That is some of the worst pre-recorded play-by-play I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it sounds like a video game. I was thinking the same
terrible.
thing.
Terrible. Did they use our microphones for that? Because it just sounds terrible. Minnesota Moses has texted in to say he remembers when the Puppy Bowl was about the game and not so commercial.
They sold out.
Oh, man.
Purple Belt Jesus said Team Rough cost him $1 million. He got a lot of money on.
Sleeping on the couch because all the money you lost on the Puppy Bowl.
Hopefully now that the NFL season is mercifully over, we can stay away from this crap for a while. But for now, here you go. What do I have here? The Vikings are one of a few teams that should trade for Los Angeles Rams wide receiver Cooper's Kupp. Okay.
Well, there's a relationship there between KOC and Kupp, and so some of that makes some sense. But I don't know if that truly is something the Vikings would do monetarily. I'm not so sure that's the direction they need to go.
And I'm sighing because we just 5 minutes ago got done saying what they should do, which is draft and load up on offense and defensive line. And here's this, stuff. I mean, they don't need any more skilled position players. They need to shore up their lines if they want to play on Sunday like they did yesterday.
I'm with you. I'm fine with that. Karen Rodgers was told to leave. This is according to a couple reports. He was told to get.
He's done.
Let's get out of here, man.
Another article. Another article went this way. Kirk Cousins could be a short-term option for the Jets. So that team's going to continue to be hilarious.
Yeah.
What about this?
I'd be shocked if Cousins was back with Atlanta now.
So would they still have to pay him $100 million? Is that how that works?
I'm not sure how it all works, but
$200 million.
Some of it's guaranteed, yeah.
Yeah.
What about this now? What about this idea I just read about trading Sam Darnold?
They can't trade Sam Darnold. He's a free agent.
For Matthew Stafford.
They could trade J.J. McCarthy for somebody.
Yeah, but his deal is just a one-year deal, so Darnold's a free agent.
Yeah.
What about that trade idea?
McCarthy for who?
No, Darnold for Stafford.
Well, we can't trade Darnold. He's a free agent.
What do you think about that trade idea?
Well, sure. If he's a free agent, go ahead and trade him.
He's not going to let it go, Brad. He's not going to let it go.
I'm not sure the Rams would go for that, but we can try.
What about O'Connor for Stafford?
Sure.
Guy can't coach us out of the first round. What's so important about him? Why not trade him for Stafford? The coach, Kevin O'Conrad.
Coach of the year.
Coach of the year. That's hilarious.
His stock will never be higher.
My beloved Timberwolves, who have won 3 ball games in a row, are out on the road for a one-off game in Cleveland to play the Cavaliers, the number one team in the Eastern.
Cavaliers.
They're terrific.
Yeah.
She's a 6 o'clock start out there. You can see the game on the FanDuel channel. They're going to have to be terrific tonight.
Is Edwards going to play?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know he didn't play the other night, so.
Nobody played the other night.
I have a feeling they purposely may have sat him the other night.
What?
Well, they would need him tonight. They would need him tonight.
They'll need him tonight.
Okay. Yeah, the Cavaliers are having a great season.
They're very good.
They had a great game the other night against I'm speaking of the Timberwolves now, against Portland. I mean, Edwards didn't play. Mike Conley Jr. didn't play. You know, they got some really fun young kids on this team. That Jalen Clark, Jaden McDaniels had a great game Saturday night against the
Yeah, he did.
Who am I missing? The young guy? Baby Dill. And someone help me with some of the younger guys now. I watch every game and suddenly I can't think
of Naz Reid and...
Well, no. He's been here a couple years. I'm missing someone.
Luka Garza.
For Christ's sake, you guys aren't watching the game. Who am I missing?
We're also going to find out probably today. I talked about this late last week. We're going to find out today who the new owners are, or who the owner is.
You know the guy's name?
Oh.
We find out today?
I think we're going to find out today. Yeah.
This is for the majority ownership,
yes.
right?
Yep. Yeah. The arbitration supposedly is coming down today, the ruling.
All right.
So it's either going to be Glenn or it's going to be
A-Rod and Lori.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yep.
Well, maybe if they traded for...
It's killing me.
But maybe if we traded for Matt Stafford, we'd get that figured out.
Terrence Shannon Jr. is who I missed when talking about the young players. Baby Dill. Josh Minot's on the bench now because he didn't look so good. Those are the guys. That's who I was missing was the kid from Illinois, Terrence Shannon Jr. Okay, we'll find out who the owner is.
Yeah. That'll be big news today.
Yeah.
Well, the Dallas Mavericks, they're just a sorry group of sumbitches now.
Oh, that's a tough break.
Yeah, you think?
The big trade, the Dinkus trade, and Anthony Davis comes over there, and now he's going to have to sit out for a month because his groin ended up in the third row.
That's part of Anthony Davis, though. I mean, when he's on the floor and he's healthy, he's great.
Yeah.
But more times than not, and you can say the same thing about Luka Doncic too, though, right?
Yeah.
You can say the same thing about him.
Yeah.
So.
That sucks for the Mavericks. And Davis goes out there, makes his debut on Saturday, has 25 points, 16 rebounds, and then his groin gives out on him, and he's done. For a month or so. Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. Great player. Kind of a moron. His dad, T. Morant. Absolute moron. So the Grizzlies over the weekend are playing someone. And T. Morant, the old man, got ejected from his courtside seats for disrespecting the referees. And that cheesy smile he constantly has on his face isn't fooling anybody. Deep down, he is crushed that he isn't the NBA star player. His son is. He isn't, and it's killing him inside. And that's why he can't behave himself. Everyone can see through that smile. Every time they show him on television with that smile. It's all fake. He's the angriest man in America.
I will say this, though. The Grizzlies are playing some really good basketball, man.
But if his dad was out there, I mean.
They've jumped up to the number 2 spot in the West, and they're playing some really good basketball.
Yeah, they're good. The Pigs are done for a while. Everybody's on vacation while this international tournament is played.
Yeah, why not just stop the regular season and play some stupid tournament? That means absolutely nothing.
And let's do it right after the Super Bowl ends, in that space of time where we could have a lot of attention on us.
Yeah.
I don't get it either.
I just don't get that.
The tournament starts Wednesday. Maybe I'll watch half of a game, and next thing you know, I'm running around in my Ken Morrow jersey and my Team USA foam finger. I don't know. But for now, I don't see the point of this either.
This is the time of year where people would start paying attention to the NHL and the NBA, but nope, let's take 2 weeks off.
So everyone's on vacation except for whoever's involved in this tournament. And like I said, I think it starts Wednesday. Over the weekend, the Pigs beat the Islanders Saturday night, and Marcus Foligno scored another empty net goal Saturday.
Yes, he leads the league.
If we knew this guy was going to behave like this, we never would have signed him up to be part of our radio show.
He has to be leading the league in empty net goals.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I bet if he played baseball, he'd try to bunt in the 9th inning when the pitcher has a no-hitter going. I bet if he played basketball, he'd toss himself an intentional rebound to get a triple-double like Ricky Davis did for the Timberwolves 20 years ago.
Oh, that was great.
What is this guy? What is his problem? So I'll give you the full rundown on the Four Seasons tournament Wednesday morning. We'll start hyping it up. Because Randy's pumped, Brad's pumped.
Oh, yeah. Totally pumped.
International tournament.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Bleacher Report dumped this on you. The NHL trade deadline's still a month away, but they want to talk about should the Pigs buy, sell, or hold leading up to the trade deadline. They claim the Pigs should be buyers. They're in a good spot to try and add to this year's roster, and they could use some additional scoring help. When the Russian kid returns, they say, and with the quality goaltending they have, they would not be an easy team to knock out in the playoff, like a Vikings team coached by Kevin O'Connor, if they had a little extra trade deadline help. So we'll see about that. That's just their thoughts on the situation.
What's the trade? When is the trade deadline?
I don't know the exact date, but it's summer's coming up. Maybe someone can find it on the internet.
It's got to be after this tournament's over.
Oh, yeah, it's a month away.
Yeah, okay.
Ooh, here's an interesting text. Who's ready for the UFL to begin?
Did you see him? Well, I suppose you didn't really watch the game. They ran a couple ads for that yesterday.
No, I did not see the ads for the USFL mixing with the XFL. It's now the UFL. Oh, I enjoy it. Sure, I'm prepared. Probably got a month or so for that, too.
They were saying 7 weeks.
Looks like March 7th is the NHL trade deadline.
March 7th.
Yep.
Appreciates. There is a hockey game tonight at the X. Anoka High School and Mankato West High School will play tonight at the X. If you remember the story, in late December, Mankato West was ready to play Anoka during a tournament in Duluth, but a bag containing dozens of hockey sticks was stolen from the Mankato team bus by a local derelict. So the game was postponed to a later date. That later date is tonight. And the Pigs did a nice thing and asked Anoka High School and Mankato West if they would mind coming down to the X and playing a game. It's free to the public. Little nice gesture there for the kids who went all the way to Duluth just for some meth head to steal all their hockey sticks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's very cool.
That's a great deal.
Yeah.
They're going to do the national anthem. They're going to have the public address announcer announce the kids. Nordy's going to be there.
Wapple's going to skate the flag out from before and plant it right at center ice.
Yeah, I'm going to fall.
You're going to play the state of hockey video on the screen.
Yeah.
Ooh, now that you brought that up, I haven't been to a Pigs game in so long. Have they stopped playing that stupid song?
Oh, no.
No.
They play it.
They still play that song?
For sure.
They will fight and defend.
Oh, it's just the worst song.
People singing along.
Oh, no.
Your mother was the referee, dude.
I'm aware of that, Dana, that my mother was the referee.
Yeah, we took our knocks in the penalty box.
Right. It's a cute rhyme. Speaking of someone falling down while trying to plant the flag at center ice, one of the most horrible yet wonderful things I've ever seen in my life happened at the X. One of these media dorks versus tired ex-pros, little fun games we used to do fairly often with the Pigs. Get the radio and TV guys out on the ice, mix them in with, Reed Simpson and Doug Woog and Chris Dahlquist, and old North Stars and old Gophers. It really was really cool, and I always appreciated being invited. Tom Reed and Bob Kurtz, wonderful guys, of course, did the play-by-play. They could have stayed home. They could have, but they did.
They wish they would have.
I guess I shouldn't say play-by-play. They did all the public announcing, introducing the team. The Pigs really went all out. So at the end of this miserable game of hockey, if you were a spectator, we had a great time, but if you were a spectator, it was miserable. Tom Reed is standing at one of the exits off the ice, one of the doors, leading to the bench, which then leads to the locker room. And I think Tom was maybe at the same time doing some PA announcing. He was also coaching one of the teams. So Tom is standing there in his suit and his nice dress pants and everything. And as everyone's coming off the ice, he's like, good game, good game, good game. He's going all out, being the nice guy that he is. A dude that used to work here, who wasn't that steady on his skates, comes skating off the ice, and I think he was trying to show off to Tom a little bit by doing a very dramatic hockey stop as opposed to just gliding off the ice, and he loses his on his way to that door, and absolutely, with all of his weight, spikes Tom Reed in the shins with both skate blades. And Tommy Reed, wonderful guy that he is, cracked a half a smile and said something cute when he wanted to say, you know what, dumbass, I could be on my couch right now. Thank you for sending me to the friggin' emergency room now because you can't skate. God, those were fun days, but everyone that saw that happen would have excused a blow-up there by Tom Reed, but he kept it all. Oh, good luck next time there, pal. Whatever he said, he was in a great amount of pain.
That sucks.
While we're talking hockey, congratulations to one of the greatest NHL players of all time, Ryan Suter. All-time great Wild player, now playing for the St. Louis Blues. Last night was Suter's 1,500th career NHL game.
He's such a legend that the Wild are still paying him.
And so are the Dallas Stars. 1,500 career NHL games. That's
amazing.
40 years old now.
Wow.
He's the 7th defenseman and just the 3rd American-born player in NHL history to play 1,500 games. Those 2 other American-born players to play 1,500 games are who? Go!
Messier.
American-born players.
Not Messier.
Dana.
Brett Hull.
Good guess, but no.
Oh. Neil Broughton.
No. But he is Minnesota-born, one of them. He's heard that terrible Wild song many times.
Well, Zach Parise.
No.
Oh, wow.
What other hint could I give you? St. Cloud State.
Matt Cullen.
The other played a lot of games at Met Center when he was active. Might have taken one in the nuts in 1991, courtesy of the Minnesota North Stars.
Mike Modano?
Well, no, Madonna didn't take one. No. He's American, but he didn't.
Okay.
Madonna didn't take one in the nuts in 91. He's the one who did the nut kicking in 91. He might have. This player might have taken.
Played for Pittsburgh.
Well, no, because there were other teams. He's from the state of Illinois.
Roenick?
Chris Chelios. Mike Modano played 1,499 games.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh.
Yes, he did.
Wow.
Phil Housley played 1,495 games.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, not that they give a rat's ass, but,
Yeah, but still.
I don't think Mike Modano loses any sleep that he's not in the 1,500.
No.
But it is what it is. There you go, gentlemen. Well, we got to get going again. But thank you, Brad Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very, very much. And Brad was here with us all last week, helping out in Randy's absence.
Of course.
So, Brad, I think you should, pardon me, Randy, you should send Brad a gift card to
Golden Corral.
$10 gift card.
He'll send me a gift card for a restaurant in Florida that I'll never get to, probably.
I'll send him a $5 DoorDash.
Sure.
Again, Randy Shaver, well wishes to you and your family, and hopefully everything continues to go well.
I do too. Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll be should be back tomorrow. It'll be great.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
We will be coming back here now in a minute with our pal Dr. P. Jesus live in studio. Text us if you have a question for a real live doctor. 651-989-9393. Maybe he has a wonderful worst Super Bowl ever overhang remedy or something like that in mind. Dr. P is next on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They got their heads up their ass.
On 93X.
Dana here to tell you all about my new friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. You see, I've been doing apartment living ever since my parents kicked me out back in the day, but now I'm back living in a house. I'm absolutely clueless when it comes to any project. That's where Standard comes into play. They cranked on my furnace to get it really cooking for another cold winter. And think about this. Standard's been doing this for over 95 years. That means at one point, they made sure your great-grandpappy was all nice and warm in his butt-flap jammies. So get in touch with the folks at standardheating.com and make sure you ask about becoming a Smart Club member. That's standardheating.com.
Former U.S. Navy SEAL Sean Ryan captures real stories about sacrifice and strength, uncovering truth with the heroes who live to tell it.
There are two kinds of people. They're winners and they're losers. Winners take whatever they feel.
He's tough as nails. The dude got hit with a mortar. I'm still shooting. They're still shooting. You gotta finish it. You can't quit.
And they transmute it into things that are good for the world.
I had tunnel vision. I just saw a man that needed my help, and I went to get him.
Period.
The Sean Ryan Show. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Dr. P. Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Our friggin' bro is here. Welcome back to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Here to help you out with your health concerns is Dr. James Parnelski. You've probably heard him referred to as Dr. P. Jesus. Text us at the number 651-989-9393 and let him know what's troubling you. Hello and welcome back, Dr. P.
Hey, it is great to be back. And that's CK with a CK.
My man, you're...
God, I worked on that delivery for a couple days. It didn't really work. Okay, anyway.
B-A-C-K.
With a CK.
With a CK hanging off the end.
In there.
How you been, Dr. P? Were you just screaming and yelling, drinking beer, watching the ball game last night?
I'm hoarse from yelling. I was so excited. No.
You're lying. You played pickleball, didn't you?
I did, actually. Yeah, I was one of very few people who showed up for this league last night to play.
You usually play Sunday nights?
I've been sort of filling in the last part of a league season, and so I have been the last few weeks.
And is that pickleball with a CK? Just bringing it full circle.
It is indeed.
Good for you for skipping the ball game.
Yeah, I didn't feel bad about it.
No, who would?
I mean, what was the final score?
I don't know.
40-22.
Okay, so they did catch up. I heard it this morning that they were...
It was garbage time.
Yeah,
it doesn't even count.
No, it sounds terrible.
Yeah.
So that's always, I think that's disappointing for most people when the game is kind of a blowout, right?
Not last night.
Not in this situation.
People really wanted...
Yeah.
I grew up in Connecticut, and Patriots were my team when I was growing up, and they were horrible. But I was kind of hoping Kansas City would finally claim the most hated team, and the Patriots could kind of reset.
Oh, I think the Chiefs have surpassed them.
Okay,
yes.
good.
They have surpassed
Okay, well, then they didn't need to win.
You grew up in Connecticut following the Patriots, and they were terrible.
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, it was the Steve Grogan era.
Oh, I remember Steve Grogan very well.
They just couldn't do anything back then.
Number 14. Russ Francis, I bet, was a big part of it.
Oh, yeah, he was awesome.
Stanley Morgan was part of your life.
Boy, you know my life better than I do.
Captain Morgan is part of Dana's life.
I had a bad experience with that. Yeah.
Captain Morgan?
Oh, God, yeah.
Well,
that's the spiced rum.
Did you used to hang out with me in St. Cloud Steak? Because that would explain it.
Maybe I was there. No.
That stuff, it'll come out sideways if you're not careful.
Yep.
We're happy to have you back in studio. Text messages have been coming in. Folks looking for your professional advice. Now, our first message here must be somebody who texted in last time you visited, and we didn't get around to it, because here's how they put their text message. They simply said, "Hey, I'm still wondering about my bloody ejaculation." So we must have missed them last time around, and they're feeling a little uppity about it.
Okay. Well, bloody ejaculation is obviously always frightening. I think probably most guys think they're dying.
I would assume that.
Right. I can attest to both of those.
Yeah, I know you have talked about it.
Because I had that problem once, and it scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, and it's, I remember the urologist that I trained with in residency, the main guy. He was just like, it's no big deal. And it is really not. It's usually a completely benign thing. Maybe a little infection, or just, almost like a bloody nose or something. I mean, really, because there's mucosal tissue in there.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of blood, and obviously it doesn't take much blood in that setting to be remarkably noticeable. But it rarely occurs again. And
right.
I mean, it could theoretically be something bad, but
you're saying odds are.
Oh man, yeah, it's the vast majority, 99% of the time, maybe that's an overestimation. It's going to be fine, and it won't happen again. If you're having pain or it has persistent bleeding,
right?
Got to have your urethra and your bladder and your prostate checked.
Josh, do you remember my bloody ejaculate?
Yeah, I do.
You remember what it looked like?
Oh yeah, it was. What was worse is that he got a paper cut, and the other came out. There was no blood. It was the other stuff. It just came right out.
That's when I knew I was in real trouble.
Big trouble.
No, I was a young man, and I gave way with some blood. It's horrible looking.
I bet.
The mix of the two. It's like that Metallica record. So anyway, I did not go to a doctor. I called Cubby, and I said, "Is the Red Door Clinic a real thing?" Because I've heard jokes up and you better go to the Red Door Clinic. I always thought it was just a punchline. And Josh said, "Well, yeah, there is a."
I'd been there a couple times myself.
Yeah, literally is called that.
Okay,
still.
So first I had to check that it was a real thing and not just a punchline. He said yes, but I remember you saying, if you don't want to go all the way down there, you can call the clinic. Maybe you gave me a number. I think I called the clinic, and I was horrified. I thought, my God, my penis is dying.
I was scared too. I thought, oh no, I'd never even heard of that until you brought it up.
Imagine how many unhappy ladies there would have been from 1996 on.
I can't.
Had I. So I called, and the lady on the phone was very nice.
Yeah.
And I told her what was wrong, and she said, "It ain't no thing but a chicken wing on a string from Burger King." Just the way you explained, Dr. P. Unless it's a regular thing, she said it's probably just like an infection, or it'll go away. And it did. It went right away.
We had a guy in this building. He told me and Nick, "Hey, I had this thing happen," and we laughed at him. That's how not worried.
Prior to that, you mean, or?
No, after my situation.
Oh.
Yeah.
A dude walked up and said, "Hey, did you guys know?" And we laughed because we said it's probably nothing. I think we even kind of we beat him up a little bit too.
It's kind of a weird.
Which caused actually more of that.
You couldn't stop. It's kind of a weird thing. There's so many things that people can have and come in with that it's complicated. Or maybe the list of concerns is long, but for whatever reason, that one is like, meh.
Which is weird, because that would absolutely terrify me.
Oh,
exactly.
Boy.
I agree.
I mean, when I look down at that magazine,
it's destroyed.
Yeah.
Arden Hills Jesus has a lingering phlegm problem for the past 2 months. Not feeling sick, just phlegmy. Also causing tonsil stones. Causes remedies, he asks.
His phlegm is causing tonsil stones. You ever heard of that, Dr. P. Jesus?
So he said he thinks his phlegm is causing tonsil stones?
That's what he said, yeah.
Okay.
Man.
So phlegm. I mean, I think the most common thing it would be post-nasal drainage from allergies, from, maybe after an infection, you just get sort of a persistent irritation up in the nose and sinuses. People who have chronic reflux can basically get a sense of chronic throat clearing. So part of it is there actually something there, or is it just like a but nothing is actually,
is anything being
not
produced?
spitting anything out?
My family's kind of known for that.
Being phlegmy?
Yeah, to the point where they'll be in the middle of a conversation and do that like crazy loud. And I think it happens so often, they don't realize what's going on.
Probably not.
Josh, when you are ill, you clear your throat constantly, and you probably don't even notice it.
I'm sure I don't.
Ashley's not here today because she's feeling sick. But a few weeks ago when you weren't feeling well, I was counting.
Oh, were you really?
Yes.
You really were?
And we were having
That's funny and embarrassing at the same time.
Because at one point in about a 3-minute conversation, you cleared your throat somewhere in the neighborhood of 37 times.
Oh, well, I got to get off my high horse. I thought that was my family.
You are.
It is your family.
You are a throat clearer, too. You are.
You've opened my eyes.
Yes.
Was he doing it on the air, or was he?
No, off air.
So you were able to
usually
control
hit the although every once in a while if I'm sitting here, I'll turn my mic off just in case there's some noise is coming over here.
Sure.
It was every
once in a while I forget, and I'll hit the button and clear my throat right into the microphone.
Yeah.
So this phlegmy character.
So I mean, it can be a variety. Allergies, but this is kind of a weird time of year to have that. I wouldn't expect increased phlegm to be causing tonsil stones. I mean, tonsil stones tend to be. This person didn't say how old they were, right?
No. Could it be Arden Hills, Jesus? Could it be the proximity to New Brighton, or would that be under?
Is that a stinky place or a dirty place?
I'm just curious.
Oh, okay. I mean, because tonsil stones really are based on probably the physiology of your tonsils. If you have deep crypts, we've sort of talked about, or fissures in the tonsils, there's places for food to get stuck.
Yeah.
It probably also has to do with the bacteria that live in your mouth, your little colony of bacteria, and the acidity of your saliva and all that stuff.
But what about cigarette smoking?
I mean, I don't think that would help.
Right.
I don't think I've heard that as necessarily a risk for tonsil stones.
He got back to me, 34. Does that make a difference?
Okay. I mean, it makes a difference just in the sense that, if he was 18 or something, then maybe he hadn't had time to form tonsil stones in his life. But trying some over-the-counter nasal spray, like basically allergy nasal spray, Flonase is probably the most common brand name that can help you at least find the aisle and the spot, and you can get a generic version of that or one of the other ones. But basically a steroid nasal spray is a really helpful thing for kind of any sort of chronic post-nasal drainage. If there's any sense that heartburn or reflux at night is causing it, then trying some heartburn medication for a couple weeks straight, see if that helps. Otherwise,
fair enough.
Getting looked at, if you've got a fever, you got facial pain, might be sinusitis. Those would be the common things.
Gotcha.
If you just got a new cat, could be that.
Oh, yeah.
That rhymed.
If you just defeated Joey Chestnut in a yogurt eating contest, that could be.
People are wondering about dairy.
I mean, it could
soy
be.
and dairy.
Could be. Again, it's just all of a sudden, I think that's the thing that makes it seem less likely. But I mean, you can develop dairy intolerance at any age, basically. So I mean, it's possible, but I guess that quick of a change, I would sort of doubt, unless he has been, I don't know, drinking milk smoothies every morning for the last 2 months.
Give me a double milk, warm. Were you listening earlier when Randy Shaver joined us on the air, Dr. P?
I was, yes.
He had a horrible, frightening story about his granddaughter, who is still currently in intensive care. Now, things have greatly improved, but for the last week or so, she's been laid out in the hospital due to a seizure of some sort that affected her breathing and whatnot. Do you remember the name of the seizure?
Yeah, febrile seizures.
Febrile.
So febrile means, I don't know why we say it that way, because febrile you could say, but fever-associated seizure.
Okay. A listener wants to know the difference between an epileptic seizure and a febrile seizure like the one Randy's granddaughter had.
Sure. No, that's a good question. And that was very powerful of him to share that whole story, too. It's scary stuff. Febrile seizures basically only occur you can only diagnose it in a kid, essentially. And it's, I looked up a couple statistics before I came in. I didn't remember this. 2 to 4% of children under the age of 5 can have febrile seizures. Most of the time, they're scary to see, but they're called simple febrile seizures so the kid does have to have a fever, basically over 100.7. That's 38 degrees Celsius. And if they have a seizure and there's no other, they're evaluated, they don't have an infection of any kind that would be causing that, they don't have any other problems. If the seizure lasts for less than 15 minutes, if it doesn't happen again within 24 hours, it's called a simple febrile seizure. And those can happen again when you're a child. It increases the risk of epilepsy later in life a tiny percent, or maybe a small amount. Complex febrile seizures are when kids have either prolonged seizures associated with a fever, so longer than 15 minutes, or they're having multiple seizures in 24 hours, or maybe just having more episodes over time.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you have a seizure, you can have complications like it sounds like, whether she had just been eating but she aspirated something into her lungs, which is...
What does that mean?
I mean, it basically means you breathe in either saliva or food to your lungs instead of swallowing it.
Okay.
So it's bad. I mean, depending on how much volume of that, again, if it's food, that's particularly bad because it blocks things, and it also causes a massive inflammatory reaction, probably causes the airways to spasm. So that's where it would have been, she was in danger there.
Yeah.
Fortunately, that is unusual with febrile seizures. In residency, I did a couple months at Children's Hospital, and we would see these kids all the time. And, sometimes you would keep them overnight and watch them. I don't remember ever seeing a kid that was having complications from it. So it's unfortunate that she did. I know he mentioned she had one previously, so I'm not sure. Maybe she is having complex febrile seizures. But basically, febrile seizures, ages 2 to 5, associated with a fever. Epilepsy is a diagnosis typically later in life, but I think it could be after 5 years old. And if it's not associated with a fever, then then it is more into that category. A non-febrile seizure is essentially, if it's continuing to happen, epileptic. So there's, in terms of what's happening in the brain, I'm not sure that matters so much.
Sure.
A lot of the times when people have epilepsy, it's not clear what causes it. I mean, they do MRIs, they do EEGs, trying to see if there's some little area in the brain or a tumor or something bad, but it's often sort of mysterious, and you end up on medication. But yeah.
Cubby knows a thing or two about all that.
For sure. So, unbelievably scary to see.
Yeah.
Thankfully benign, kind of like the blood in the ejaculate. Kind of. I probably should have left that out, but it is. But it's another scary thing that almost all the time doesn't end up really leading to much.
Okay.
So we'll put it in that little basket.
Sure.
Hot Mom, she just said she had the same thing when she was a kid. Luckily, it was one and done.
Yep.
And she said some nice things. And by the way, thank you to everybody who sent such nice text to Randy. And it wasn't just today. It's been the last week. People have been seeing it on social media.
Sure.
Very kind.
Obviously, it's...
And it's helped.
I do listen. It's unusual when he's not here, so I figured either he really decided to take a vacation or there's something else going on. So,
Right.
But, yeah, so scary stuff. I'm glad that things are turning around.
Yeah, we are, too.
My son, RN She's said, has 2 swollen lymph nodes on his right neck.
Right neck.
No pain. They're movable.
Oh.
Should I be concerned?
Did she say how old he was?
She did not.
2 swollen nodes, right neck. And she said nurse cheeses. Okay.
RN cheeses.
I mean, I guess it's hard to say. I mean, mobile's better than fixed in terms of things that you can palpate on the body.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, generally. I mean, mobile means it's either, it's kind of floating and it's free and it's not anchored down like a tumor.
Sure.
He's 5.
He's 5.
Yeah, thanks for getting back to
Yeah. I mean, if he's not had, typically it's going to be associated with some sort of infection. If it's on both sides of the neck, that's, I would say, generally more common with a viral infection just because it's a more generalized thing. If he's got a sinus infection or ear infection on that same side, then that would not be an uncommon thing to have basically reactive lymph nodes on one side, just because the lymph nodes are connected to the lymph channels, which we don't really talk about lymph a lot, but I mean we have arteries that carry blood.
Well, we talk about Lymph Biscuit.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite artists.
Well, me too. I mean, you're right.
You love Lymph Biscuit.
I do. That'd be a good name for a band, Lymph Biscuit. And you probably wouldn't get sued even if you were playing their songs. But yeah, the lymph carries fluid around our body to two lymph nodes, which kind of are not really filters, but it's a home for antibodies to live and react to things that are in the body. So like the right side of your face basically drains down into the lymph nodes in your right neck. So there may be something going on there. That would be, it's a good idea to probably have it looked at because, again, if it's both sides of the neck and maybe been a little stuffy, that's a viral infection.
Okay.
But if it's on one side, then that usually means there is something going on there. It could be dental. So dental, ear, sinus.
Wow. So many friggin' possibilities.
Yeah.
There.
But you recommend going in for this?
I mean, if the kid seems totally fine and is eating and drinking and behaving normal.
Talking back and whatnot.
Talking back like a 5-year-old. Then I don't know that you need to rush in, but monitoring it closely and trying to have a sense of. You can take a look in the throat. Strep throat could do it. All kinds of stuff.
Of course.
Hi, everybody.
Dr. P. Jesus, welcome to the Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X.
Before we get the hell out of here, we're going to enjoy some more thoughtful advice from Dr. P. Jesus. Our glorious listeners have been texting in their questions, and we're going to try and get through a few more. Let's get a few more into the mix here before we go. Dr. P, thanks so far for everything.
You betcha.
You have been wonderful per usual.
Your thoughts, Dr. P, on devices like LifeVac for choking and aspiration. You ever heard of such a thing in your entire life as a professional doctor?
I have not.
Oh.
LifeVac for aspiration. So something you would have at home that you would treat that with?
Don't know. We might have to look that one up and ask you.
Like a Flowbee for life-saving action?
I mean, it'd be a Suckbee.
Yeah, it sucks air in and out of you.
I'd have to look that up.
We'll look it up.
Yeah, I think that. It sounds a little iffy, but getting in an ambulance and getting to somewhere medical is probably the safer things. I can't imagine pulling this thing out.
You keep
your family members freaking out, trying to put it together.
Who didn't charge it?
Yeah, because
do you keep it in the closet with your vacuum and broom?
Yeah, because the problem is if you truly aspirated something, it's not like you just put something in the mouth and start. It's down in your lung, so
you got to go.
Usually, your body is fighting to protect that airway. So
I don't know if I want anyone.
You might actually make it worse if you suck up
you pull out a spleen or something.
Yeah, stomach contents, which is then aspirated more.
We got to look this thing up because we don't know what it is, but it sounds iffy.
I'll look at it.
Slightly below average Jesus has a question about a big, hard, red lump on his thigh. It's very painful. He wears a 3-day insulin pump on his leg. In that spot, started with his last pump. I had to switch legs because of the pain. Is this an infection? Should I be worried? What are your thoughts?
If it's red and painful and large, you said?
Yes.
I would say it is. It's an infected, it's an abscess, basically. So pocket of infection. And if it's really painful and very red and getting larger, the safest thing to do is to go in and be seen. And typically you need to make an incision and drain that. Just because otherwise it can spread, it can pop, it can, and particularly with diabetes, just with elevated blood sugars, you're more likely to have infections and your immune system doesn't quite work as well. So yeah, I would probably not ignore that.
All righty. Thank you.
Dr. P. Jesus, a listener, is texting in who recently had suffered some vision loss. His eye doctor told him to stop with the pecker pills immediately. Told me I have central serous chorionatopathy. He was not aware of these side effects. Are you aware of this? Something about vision loss and boner pills.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unusual side effect, I think. The one I remember, I mean, it doesn't get talked about a ton. One of the things you can have, particularly with Viagra, which is weird because it's, the blue pill, is your vision could turn blue.
Whoa.
So I mean, it's affecting something with the
I'm
blood.
living in the movie Avatar.
I know, right. This is amazing.
I'm in Smurfville.
Right. Ooh, that's even better. It's totally Smurfy. Yeah, it definitely can. I mean, it basically erection medications or anti. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Affect blood flow, and so they're doing something with the eye, and it's a rare thing for it to cause episodes of actual vision loss. But yeah, that's not good. So you'd have to have some kind of, and it sounds like, I mean, some of the eye stuff is not my specialty.
Right.
What a bummer. You have this glorious erection and you can't even see it.
Right. Or see where you are. But yeah, it's so maybe an underlying condition is just predisposing to that.
That's frightening.
Yeah, I mean, it would be very frightening. I was, considering how much those medications are used and how widespread they are, it's not something you hear about too often, but that definitely was, I mean, it's part of the package warning.
This man had not heard of such a thing. Well, maybe you better look further into that. Josh, what do you choose at this point in your life? Your eyesight or your friggin' brajola?
Eyesight.
Yeah, me too. It sucks that you'd have to make that choice in life, but...
we got another penis-related question.
Sure.
From Steelers fan Jesus, and this is silly, but I do have some experience here. I have a doctor's appointment on Friday. I got to show the doc the Weenski. Is it proper etiquette to fluff it up a little, or do I just leave it at its absolute smallest possible?
Stop it.
Please
go in raw.
I've done both.
He or she wants to see it in its most natural form.
Yeah, don't fluff.
Yeah, but there's nothing natural about it when it's that small.
I had to haul mine out a couple weeks ago. It was fine.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen it all, so it doesn't... You're not doing the doc any, favors by fluffing, and
well, it's more for your ego.
For your ego, yeah. I don't think that helps either.
If you have to think to fluff, then your ego's probably already down the dumps.
That's a good point. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Dr. P, last week this is a listener speaking, not me. Last week I had a bloody nose. It wouldn't stop bleeding.
I mean, is it still bleeding?
Well, I imagine it's done now, but it wouldn't stop bleeding, and they were concerned.
Yeah, they can be bad. This time of year, dry air, especially, I think February, the humidity is low in your home, the heat's on, the air's cold outside and dry. The main thing with nosebleeds is you have to basically put pressure on that side of the nostril and hold it there for like 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Straight. And don't look. Don't keep looking. Because one of my residency professors was like, every time you look, you got to start over again because
you got to clot it up.
You're basically, you're trying to get it to clot. And the only way to do that is to press pretty hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you can jam Kleenex up in there, but it's still not enough pressure to stop it. So you got to hold it, and it's uncomfortable, and it sucks. But hold it there for a good 20 minutes, and that usually should take care of it.
I heard an old wives' tale that if you put an ice
gunpowder
underneath your bottom lip, it'll kind of like freeze the nerves, and that'll help.
What? You do what? Ice?
Yeah, you take like an ice cube under your top lip and kind of hold it there, and that'll help like freeze the nerves or something.
Yeah,
that sounds hilarious.
I think probably nosebleeds might be in first place for old wives' tales, grandmothers, remedies, recipes. Yeah, I mean, it is amazing, but no, I mean, really just pressure.
Peer pressure. That's the key, is peer pressure.
Yeah, especially for one that is really, really pouring. Because, I mean, if it's some minor little thing, then it'll stop on its own. It's just the blood. If the blood is coming out fast enough that it can't clot and stop itself, you really, just like in every war movie, you got to put pressure on it, man.
Right.
Yeah, throw a tampon up there. That's what they do.
Well, you can't. I mean, that is one way to do it, but I mean, you can. If you happen to have one, I guess.
Yeah.
And you really can't put pressure, it's still, there'll be a lot more bleeding that will continue for a bit with that.
You need the pressure.
Yeah, the pressure is definitely the best way to just stop
I've never been a nosebleed guy, but a couple of my friends, when we were kids, they were constantly bleeding out of their nose, and I found it to be a riot.
I get them all the time.
I enjoyed the hell out of those days.
That's because you perform telekinesis.
And I might pick my nose.
Oh, and that yeah.
You're a booger eater, aren't you?
No.
Yeah, digit in the nose is the most common reason.
Real quick, from your experience,
Yeah.
I see we're running late, but Meat Maker Jesus wants to know about knee replacements. You know, you've had 2, correct?
I have.
He's a 46-year-old male considering a knee replacement on his left knee, currently painful, bone on bone. Other knee has no issues at all, no other health issues. What he wanted to know your experience.
Yeah, so I was a little bit older. I did make it to 50 before I had them done. No, not really. I mean,
well, you just looked it.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely. I mean, oh god, are we going down that path again? I fall into that trap every time. 46 is pretty young. I think historically, most orthopedists were like 50 is kind of a cutoff. I don't know that that's true anymore. There's so many different types of artificial joints and things, and different approaches to it. Part of it's whether you need the whole knee replaced. Most people who have bone-on-bone arthritis in the knee only have it on the inside part, so the medial compartment, you call it, so not the lateral side. And sometimes you can have a partial knee replacement, which is a lot easier to recover from. It's a simpler surgery, and you could still have a total knee replacement later if you needed it. So that's something that the surgeon would talk to them about. If you've torn your ACL and you've torn cartilage on both sides of the knee and you've got bone on bone, a total knee is the way to go. But yeah, I saw a few surgeons. I mean, I talked to a few just to see what they thought, what their opinions were on how they would approach it, and then went with the one I was most comfortable with. And I think that's a good idea for this because it's a big decision. It ultimately has been fantastic for me, but it's a bummer to get through. But it does get you back to hopefully full activity.
You got to be tough.
Yeah, but I think getting a first opinion, second opinion is absolutely smart with that surgery.
Right on, Dr. P.
Right.
Thanks, Pimp.
Yeah,
you bet.
We always enjoy your visits, and we hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, too. See you in a couple weeks.
Happy anniversary to Fly Honey Jesus from former iron worker, now retired blind ninja cat Jesus. And once again, happy 26th to my stepson Cam today. Have an awesome Monday.
93X.
Hey, podcast listeners. Dana here. Can I let you guys in on a little secret? Just between us? We like all of you much, much more than the folks that listen live. But no matter how, when, or where you check out the Hams podcast, we got to give thanks to our friends at Standard Heating for making it all possible. It's been a pretty tame winter so far, but we know well enough that we're not out of the woods yet. So hit up standardheating.com to get them out to your house to make sure your furnace is tuned up to do all of the furnace-y types of things it's supposed to do. I'm still learning the lingo. Make that appointment today. Become a Smart Club member like me. That's standardheating.com.